Chapter 639. The heavenly netherworld divine nation and the Phoenix race have officially shed all pretense of cordiality. Previously, they had been smiling at each other, but now they were no longer showing any hypocritical smiles. Killing 2 guards in a row was the best proof of that. Moreover, it was impossible for them to get back on their feet now that they had entered the heavenly netherworld divine nation. They had thought this way a long time ago. As the descendants of the evil spirit race, how could they easily forgive the actions of the Phoenix race? The Phoenix race would also not forgive the actions of the evil spirit race. Even their descendants would be ruthlessly eradicated. The reason why the Phoenix race slaughtered the Phoenix race was to absorb the blood essence of the Phoenix race. The Phoenix clan had always been one to not offend others as long as the enemy did not offend them. Since they had offended the Phoenix race, they would be eradicated. Suddenly, the 2 phoenix feathers in by Shui Wang's hands turned into red light and shot out at a speed 10 times faster than before. Swoosh! It went straight towards Ji Yang. Ji Yang quickly raised his hand to block the attack, but this time he did not block it with his bare hands. He took out a fan and waved it in front of him. Dang! Ji Yang was forced to take a few steps back. 2 marks appeared on the fan in his hand, but it did not penetrate through the fan. Obviously, this fan was not an ordinary item. It was a divine artifact. Although divine tools were not as common as cabbages on the streets, to a Saint King, not having 1 or 2 divine tools to protect himself would really be too weak. Especially when a divine artifact was not even a divine artifact, it was really a joke. The Imperial Preceptor of the heavenly netherworld divine nation. He is indeed very young. Compared to us old farts, he is much stronger. An old man in red floated down from the sky. The 2 phoenix feathers landed in his hands. Although he looked old, there was not the slightest hint of turbidity in his eyes. Instead, his gaze was filled with sharpness, not one bit inferior to that of a young person. Yes, but is the heavenly netherworld divine nation bullying the Phoenix race? Our Phoenix race has been in seclusion for a long time. Do they think that our Phoenix race is weak? Another old man wearing a red robe landed from the sky. It seems that we 3 old farts have to prove to the heavenly netherworld divine nation and the whole netherworld that our Phoenix race is not weak. Another old man appeared on the side with a faint smile on his face. We pay our respects to the 3 ancestors, they respectfully shouted. These 3 were the ancestors of the Phoenix clan, 3 Saint King stage powerhouses. The weakest among them was at the Saint King stage 4th layer, while the strongest was at the Saint King stage 7th layer, crushing the 2 opposing masters with absolute power. This was the foundation of the Phoenix clan. If one didn't come out of seclusion, one wouldn't know how strong the Phoenix clan was. Many members of the Phoenix clan heaved a sigh of relief when they saw the 3 old ancestors. With the 3 of them here, there would be no problem. As expected of the Phoenix clan, I didn't expect them to have 3 patriarchs. The outside world said that the Phoenix clan only has 1 patriarch. Now it seems like that was just a rumor. Ji Yang laughed. He didn't look worried at all. The Phoenix race had a longer lifespan, so it was not surprising that they had 3 great ancestors. The most powerful one was much stronger than them. It had to be said that the gap between them was quite big, but he was not afraid, because all of this was within the scope of his calculations, and it did not exceed his expectations. Heavenly netherworld divine kingdom. As the descendants of the evil spirit race, you actually hid in the shadows and pretended that nothing had happened to you. Fortunately, we found out about it, otherwise, we would have been kept in the dark. Bai Shui Wang said coldly, since you have come to our door, then we will fight to the end. Previously, they had been suppressing the anger in their hearts. Now, they were ready to fight fiercely. Is that so? With this great array, or just you 3 old ancestors? Ji Yang said with a smile. It's more than enough to deal with you. Bai Shui Wang said coldly. Since you were so confident, then the stage is ready. Let's begin. Ji Yang smiled, but in their eyes, this smile seemed a little strange, and there was even a hint of success in it. Not good. The faces of the 3 old ancestors changed, including Bai Shui Wang. They suddenly remembered something, and that was the evil spirit that was suppressed in the Phoenix Cave. Boom, boom, boom. At this time, the ground shook, and the vibration came from the side of the Phoenix Cave, which made their faces change. Sure enough, there was a change in the Phoenix Cave. It was not that Etienne's divine runes were too bad, but someone had sneaked in and took advantage of the fact that they were all gathered here to unseal it. Ha ha! It's too late. Do you think that our heavenly netherworld holy king will not come in person for such a glorious event? Moreover, it's time for him to take back his doppelganger. Ji Young laughed. He was not in a hurry. He just wanted to buy time. Who would have thought that the other party would take the bait without any trouble? Who would have thought that the Phoenix clan would sneak in from another place? Doppelganger. The current heavenly netherworld holy king is suppressing the evil spirit's doppelganger, and now he is going to fuse with it. Their faces were gloomy. In order to suppress the evil spirit, they had exhausted the life of two holy kings. But who would have thought that the evil spirit would escape and fuse with another doppelganger? They no longer paid attention to Ji Yang and the others, turned around, and flew towards the Phoenix Cave. After they left, Ji Yang smiled and waved his hand lightly. Do you really think that this broken array can trap us? The group of cultivators standing behind Ji Yang took off their blue robes, revealing their dark blue bodies. Cold chi was released from their bodies. Their faces and bodies were engraved with dark blue divine runes, as if they were strengthening something. After taking off their robes, the 12 Spirit King stage experts instantly fused together, releasing a sky-piercing cold air that froze everything in its path. Zizizi. When the flame cage was enveloped by the cold air, a harsh sound was heard, and the cage that seemed difficult to break was frozen in just a moment. The terrifying freezing flame easily suppressed the flame cage. What kind of power is this? The elder who was guarding the flame cage was shocked by the situation. This was a peerless grand array. How could it be so easy to break the cage? This is the heavenly Een fire, which is specially used to restrain our firepower. Shopkeeper Yi and the others had seen the heavenly Een fire before, but when they saw that all 12 of them could use the heavenly Een fire, their hearts trembled. This was a power that could restrain them, and if they managed to break into the Phoenix Cave, they would undoubtedly be able to suppress them. Chapter 640. When Bai Shui Huang and the others quickly arrived at the Phoenix Cave, they saw that the place was filled with heavenly Een fire. The previous immortal fire had already disappeared. In the face of the inexhaustible heavenly Een fire, even the immortal fire could only retreat. No one could continue to release the immortal fire, so it could only be extinguished by the heavenly Een fire. Standing there, they could sense a terrifying power coming from the depths of the earth, shocking them. Moreover, this power was getting stronger and stronger, as if it was going to reach a higher level at any time. The evil spirit soul has been liberated, and it seems that it's still in the process of fusing. We still have a chance to break the fusion. Old Ancestor Feng Tian said. He was the strongest among them, so he planned to kill them all. Although the place was filled with heavenly Een fire, it was not difficult for them to extinguish it. Moreover, even if they let it burn their bodies, it would not cause too much trouble. Their cultivation was high, so they could resist the heavenly Een fire. They were also experts of the Phoenix clan, so they had high-grade Phoenix fire. Even if it was not as good as the heavenly Een fire with their cultivation, they could still suppress it. Yes, let's go down quickly. We can't slow down. The other one was Old Ancestor Feng Yun, the second strongest among the group. They looked at each other, and the three of them immediately formed a triangular formation and rushed into the Phoenix Cave. Wherever they went, the heavenly Een fire was quickly suppressed. As the patriarch, Bai Shui Huang also followed. She had the immortal fire, so she was not afraid of the heavenly Een fire. Moreover, they had already washed away the heavenly Een fire that was wrapped around them, and forcibly opened up a path. Therefore, the others were able to catch up. However, not many people followed them. Only Bai Shui Huang and Elder Feng, who was in charge of the treasure house. The other elders were guarding outside the door. If everyone came, no one would be able to guard the entrance. Moreover, they were facing the heavenly netherworld holy king and the evil spirit. Those with low cultivation would not be of much help. If even the three old ancestors couldn't deal with them, then the others would not be able to help. After they quickly flew down, they saw a middle-aged man who was absorbing the black fog in the depths of the ground bit by bit. His speed was neither fast nor slow. Every time he absorbed a bit of the black mist, the handsome middle-aged man would become slightly stronger. Without a doubt, this middle-aged man was the heavenly netherworld holy king, the strongest expert of the heavenly netherworld divine nation and the mastermind behind the scenes. Originally, Yang Kai's cultivation had reached the Saint King stage 8th layer, and as he absorbed it into his body, his strength increased little by little. At this rate, if he were to continue like this, he would probably break through to the level of a peak Saint King, or even the level of a God King. When one reached the God King level, one could basically walk unhindered in the three realms. No one knew if there were any godly monarchs in the three realms. Up until now, no godly monarchs had appeared. It might be hiding in a corner, or it might not be there. If there were no other God Kings, once the Sky Netherworld Holy King broke through, he would be able to dominate the three realms. When the three realms were dominated by the evil spirit race, they would definitely fall into absolute darkness. If one looked carefully, they would discover that there was actually a big hole on the side. After an unknown period of time, a large hole had already been dug out here. One must know that this place was inscribed with divine imprints. How could one avoid these divine imprints to enter? But the fact was in front of them. The Sky Netherworld Holy King had secretly dug a hole while they were out. By the time they reacted, it was already too late. The Sky Netherworld Holy King had already broken a little of the divine imprints and allowed his doppelganger to return to his body. It should be said that it was originally a whole body, and now it was all taken back. Once it was completely integrated, it would reach an even more terrifying realm. No wonder there was such a big attack. With the ancestors, even the Phoenix race would probably be suppressed. Stop him! The three of them looked at each other and quickly poured out the Phoenix fire from their bodies. In an instant, they merged together and turned into a huge fireball that smashed towards the Sky Netherworld Holy King. Even in the face of the immortal fire and heavenly fire, the terrifying flames could be swallowed up. The surging heavenly fire along the way was quickly swallowed up by this huge fireball, and then turned into nothingness. Finally, it hit the Sky Netherworld Holy King's body, causing a violent flame explosion. Boom! The deafening sound spread in all directions, and the entire Phoenix cave shook as if it would collapse at any time. The joint attack of three Holy King powerhouses was naturally not bad. After the explosion dissipated, they found that the Sky Netherworld Holy King was unscathed, and his body was shrouded in a faint blue light. The light was emitted from the crystal on his chest, and it released a hard shield that blocked the attack of the three Holy Kings. Middle-grade divine artifact. They gasped, not expecting the Sky Netherworld Holy King to have a middle-grade divine artifact. Normally, it was a low-grade divine artifact, and it was rare to see a middle-grade divine artifact. This divine artifact was quite powerful, and even in the face of the attacks of the three powerhouses, it was still not broken. Be good and wait at the side. It will be your turn soon. The Sky Netherworld Holy King smiled sinisterly and continued to concentrate on absorbing his soul. If it was not for the fact that the seal was too hard, it would have been sucked out long ago. Continue to attack. The three old ancestors did not stop attacking. Even if it was a middle-grade divine artifact, it would eventually be broken. So far, they could only attack crazily, and there was no other way. Boom, boom, boom. Immediately after, they used all their skills and continuously attacked fiercely. For a moment, the Phoenix Cave was about to be blown up by the bombardment. At the same time, when Ziyang broke through the flame cage, it meant that the Phoenix clan was in an absolute danger zone. How could two Saint King stage powerhouses resist them? Coupled with so many Spirit King stage powerhouses, it was really difficult for them to resist. Elder Luo, Elder Lei, and the others were surrounded by 12 experts with heavenly fire. They wanted to capture all the members of the Phoenix clan. They wouldn't be killed so easily. To Ji Yang, these were all precious blood essences. He definitely couldn't waste them. It was a bit wasteful to kill all of them and collect all their blood essences, so it was better to capture them and extract them little by little. Don't struggle pointlessly. Just let yourself be caught. Ji Yang smiled, and at the same time, he stretched out his hand and said, "Go and capture all the children of the Phoenix clan. They are more precious than these old guys." "How dare you?" Elder Luo roared and instantly burned his blood essences. In order to prevent his granddaughter from being captured, he immediately burned his blood essences and prepared to risk his life. "How dare you be so arrogant? Get out of here!" Ji Yang's figure flashed, and he stretched out his hand to slap Elder Luo. "Pa!" A palm print appeared on Elder Luo's chest. Elder Luo snorted, and after a long distance, he barely managed to stop himself. His chest was already sunken, and he was seriously injured. Ji Yang didn't kill him. He definitely wanted to capture him alive. Only a living person would be valuable. "Grandfather!" A beautiful figure flew over, and it turned out to be a 15 or 16-year-old girl. After flying over, she helped her grandfather up and said worriedly, "Grandfather, are you okay? I'll take you away now." "How did you come out?" Elder Luo was terrified. They had been hiding well, but they actually came out. "But I'm worried about grandfather." This girl was none other than Luo Yin. In just a few short months, in just half a year, she had already grown into a young lady. It was simply unbelievable. Obviously, her memory had recovered, and she knew a lot of things. "You want to leave? It's too late now." Ji Yang licked his lips and said, "It looks delicious. I wonder how it tastes." Luo Yan's face turned pale, but she still held Elder Luo and quickly ran away. But how could they escape faster than Ji Yang? Xiao! Suddenly, a beam of light shot out and instantly slashed at his outstretched palm. Ji Yang had no choice but to slap it back and disperse the attack. Chapter 641. Yi Tianyun's familiar figure walked in from the outside of the space-time gate. The familiar face didn't change at all. When Elder Luo and the others saw Yi Tianyun, how could they not recognize him? It's just that at this critical moment, Yi Tianyun actually appeared to help them. They are grateful, but in the current situation, isn't it a suicide mission? There were 2 Saint King stage powerhouses on the side, and there were also many Spirit King stage powerhouses not far away. Even though his cultivation was not bad, and he could kill 5 Spirit King stage powerhouses in a row, he still couldn't kill them. But now that they were facing 2 Saint King stage cultivators, they could only wait for death. There were too many strong cultivators, especially those who could use the heavenly fire. Even the immortal fire wouldn't be able to suppress them. "Go!" Elder Luo screamed. "You stupid humans. Do you want to take advantage of people's difficulties to kill?" He suddenly yelled at Yi Tianyun, not with a smile on his face. Of course, he wasn't scolding Yi Tianyun, but deliberately driving him away. He didn't want Ji Yang to think that Yi Tianyun was a friend of the Phoenix clan. "Daddy!" Luo Yan's eyes suddenly turned red when she saw Yi Tianyun, but she didn't say anything. Yi Tianyun didn't pay attention to Elder Luo's words and continued to walk towards them. He looked at Luo Yan with surprise. In such a short period of time, Yi Tianyun could grow so big. It seems that he has undergone a transformation, otherwise he wouldn't have grown so fast. The situation of a phoenix is quite special. After a transformation, there will be a big change. Obviously, he is still a child, but after the transformation, he may become a slim and graceful girl. "You think I don't know what you were thinking?" Ji Yang looked at Yi Tianyun and said, "I heard that the one who repaired the divine runes is a human cultivator, so it's very likely that it's him. There are so many cultivators of the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom outside. Who would dare to break in? Only then did he remember that there was an inescapable net outside. It was extremely difficult to break in. Unless he killed a group of cultivators, it was impossible to enter. The fact that Yi Tianyun had walked in just like that meant that the inescapable net outside had been broken. Of course, it was also possible that he had snuck in. Ji Yang's words made Elder Luo and the others' faces change. They immediately shouted, "Hurry up and leave. This is the Imperial Advisor of the Netherheaven Divine Kingdom. You can't beat him. What's the point of shouting now? Once you enter my line of sight, you won't be able to escape." Ji Yang wasn't anxious at all. Instead, he waved his hand and signaled his subordinates to surround him. You've already reached the level of a divine inscriptionist at such a young age. I'll give you a chance now. Submit to me, and I'll guarantee you riches and glory. As long as you like it, you can choose any of the Phoenix Race's members, and they will be under your control. Other than that, there are other positions that are much better than staying here. Ji Yang could see that Yi Tianyun was somewhat concerned about Luo Yin, so he threw out the temptation. Facing a genius like Yi Tianyun, Ji Yang still cherished his talent. It should be said that Yi Tianyun was a human, so Ji Yang wasn't interested in him. He was only interested in his abilities. Is that so? Then I want the entire Phoenix race to be under my control. Are you willing? Yi Tianyun sneered. Ji Yang's expression didn't change. He still maintained a faint smile, as if everything was under his control. As expected of a loyal dog of the Phoenix race. Do you think that the Phoenix race will win this time? Ji Yang smiled. A loyal dog of the Phoenix race? Compared to trash like you, I feel that he's a little better. Yi Tianyun said indifferently. They will definitely win because I'm here. Aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue? Ji Yang waved his hand impatiently. Forget it, the entertainment is over. Don't waste my time. Let's get rid of him and let him die a painful death. 3 Spirit King stage experts rushed towards Yi Tianyun without hesitation. The weakest of them was at the 4th layer of Spirit King stage, and the strongest was at the 6th layer. They were all elite experts, but they weren't the ones who had surrounded Yi Tianyun. Father! Luo Yan's beautiful face paled as she shouted, her heart in her throat. No one had seen how Yi Tianyun fought before, but this time, the 3 of them surrounded him, and they were much stronger than the previous time on the heaven-ascending divine altar. Yi Tianyun stretched out his hand, and the heavenly netherworld divine sword fell into his hand. Sizzle! The netherworld fire appeared on the sword and instantly ignited the surrounding air. When the sword appeared, Ji Yang and the others were stunned. They had never seen this sword before. It was the divine artifact of the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom. But now it was in the hands of Yi Tianyun. All of a sudden, they remembered the incident where a human killed 5 Spirit King stage powerhouses and obtained the inheritance of the heaven-creating divine king. Don't go near him, Ji Yang shouted. But it's too late. A huge phantom appeared behind Yi Tianyun, followed by a whirling slash. The huge phantom pierced through the air with unparalleled power. The 3 Spirit Kings who rushed towards Yi Tianyun didn't have enough time to prepare themselves, and their bodies were pierced by the huge shadow. In an instant, the body that was charging over stiffened on the road. Soon after, with a poochie sound, his head flew into the air and 3 pillars of blood spurted out. It looked extremely bloody. Ding! Successfully killed a 6th layer Spirit King stage expert. Reward: EXP. Ding! Success! Yi Tianyun easily killed 3 Spirit King stage experts in a row. Even if they were stronger than Yi Tianyun, they were nothing in front of his excellent equipment. He was wearing the Desolate Ancient Necklace and Desolate Ancient Ring, which was more than enough to crush anything in front of him. More importantly, he was still wearing the Evil God set. Because he had not transformed, his body looked pitch black, which made him look somewhat demonic. Do you recognize this sword? Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently and said, This sword's power is not bad. I haven't used it before. Today, I will use your divine sword to sacrifice everyone, including you. Before she could finish her sentence, Luo Yin revealed a horrified expression. She opened her mouth to say something, but her voice was half a beat too slow. A figure appeared behind Yi Tianyun, shining blue light piercing his back. The speed is so fast that people can only see an afterimage. The corners of Ji Yang's mouth had already curled up into a cold smile. It was a disdainful smile. Yi Tianyun didn't even look at his back, and he slashed his sword at the figure. The evil spirit's suit on his body shone with an amazing black light. In an instant, a domineering black sword light slashed towards the figure behind him, and it was more than 10 meters high. Boom! The phantom was blasted away and was forced to retreat continuously by the sword light. Moreover, it continuously cut into his body wanting to cut him into two. "Break for me!" The figure roared and slammed his hands forward. Bang! The black sword light was barely crushed, but a deep wound was left on his body. It was so deep that his bones could be seen. Everyone finally saw who the sneak attacker was. It was General Ming Shun, but now he was almost cut in half by Yi Tianyun's sword light. Is sneak attack fun? Yi Tianyun sneered. How could he not feel that someone was sneak attacking him? Chapter 642. With a single strike, Great General Ming Shun was sent flying, leaving a deep sword wound on his chest. This was a Saint King stage powerhouse, yet he was sent flying by a single strike. If it wasn't for his tough skin, he would have been cut in half. After everyone saw this, they couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. This was too overbearing, far beyond their imagination. Obviously, Great General Ming Shun was only able to deal with Spirit King stage powerhouses before. Even the most famous Great General Ming Shun was almost cut in half by a single strike. The power of this attack made everyone's pupils shrink and their scalp tingle. Although Yi Tianyun's strength was very strong, the main problem was that his strength had increased a little too fast. This was not in line with what they knew at all. How is this possible? Ji Yang's smile froze. This was beyond his expectations and beyond his control. Oracle, Elder Luo sat up in shock and felt that the wound did not hurt at all. In addition to shock, there was still shock. Even Luo Yin was shocked. Her beautiful eyes were filled with admiration, and her heart was suddenly filled with hope. This was her father. Although she was mistaken, now that she saw Yi Tianyun's strength, the stone that was hanging on her chest finally fell down. Time is running out. Let's solve this first. Yi Tianyun looked at the distant Phoenix Cave with a cold light flashing in his eyes. He could feel a terrifying power coming from there. If he continued to let it develop, he was afraid that it would be out of his control. His current strength was not bad, but once it was out of his control, even the evil spirits set couldn't fill the gap. When the gap in cultivation reached a certain level, it would be impossible to resist this terrifying power. For example, this was the first time he faced Ji Yang head-on. Ji Yang was only at the 6th layer of the Saint King stage, but his battle prowess had already reached 5 billion. Once he used his full strength, his battle prowess would definitely be more than 5 or 6 billion. In this state, he could still suppress it, but facing someone at the peak of the Saint King stage, he was not sure. Especially the evil spirit, an existence from a long time ago. Now that it had become stronger, he didn't know what level it would reach. Since he didn't know, he had to kill it as soon as possible. Kill him. Ji Yang waved the divine fan in his hand. His eyes flashed with murderous intent. He would not allow anything that was out of his control to happen. In the next moment, his power instantly surged out, and the heavenly Een fire was released from his body. The divine fan in his hand was filled with the heavenly Een fire, and the divine runes on each of its ribs were ignited. Almost in an instant, a huge hollow spirit appeared behind him. Its ghostly wails and wolf-like howls spread in all directions. The place where he stood was immediately eroded by the heavenly Een fire. His combat power soared crazily, rushing to the 6 billion mark in a single breath, and even going up to the 7 billion mark. They didn't go all out, but at least they used more than half of their strength to test the waters. On the other side, Great General Ming Shun's expression was resolute, and the wounds on his body healed rapidly. In the blink of an eye, even the scars disappeared. His super healing ability was astonishing. The terrifying heavenly Een fire was also ignited. He could also control the heavenly Een fire, so this was not surprising. He stretched out his hand, and a heavenly nether divine spear fell into his hand. A faint, ghostly wail came from the spear, and even a distorted demon could be seen howling out of the spear, trying to rush out of it. I haven't met such a strong opponent for a long time. Let me see how strong you are. The two Saint King stage powerhouses burst out at the same time. They wanted to eradicate this unknown force as soon as possible. As for Yi Tianyun, there was no need to take it slow. After all, it was useless to them. The power of the bloodline was certainly not as good as that of the Phoenix race. The power of the human race's bloodline was the most useless existence to them, so they were too lazy to care about it. Now, they only had one goal, and that was to kill Etianyan. "Daddy, be careful," Luo Yin shouted in a low voice. She was afraid that Etianyan would be distracted, so she didn't shout. What a good kid. I don't know how he cultivated to reach such a level. But facing two Saint Kings, can he resist them? Elder Luo said with a worried look. Although Etianyan had repelled Great General Ming Shun, it didn't mean that he had absolute power. When Great General Ming Shun launched a sneak attack, he didn't use his full strength. In their eyes, Etianyan was just an ant that could be crushed at any time. It was normal for him to be attacked when he was careless. Now that he was going all out, the meaning was completely different, especially with two Saint King stage powerhouses. Each of them had enough experience, so how could they suppress them? Not only that, but his old friends were also trapped in the encirclement. The 12 Heavenly Een divine soldiers that could control the Heavenly Een fire were madly capturing the Phoenix race's people. As long as they were frozen by the Heavenly Een fire, they couldn't move at all and could only watch helplessly as they were captured. Before you tell others to be careful, you should worry about yourself first. At this time, a sinister laughter came from the side, and a Spirit King stage powerhouse appeared beside them, ready to subdue them. He couldn't let them stay here forever. As long as they were Phoenix race's people, they must be captured. "It seems that you are trying to provoke me," Etianyan said coldly. "If you want to save others, take care of yourself first." Great General Ming Shun, who was closest to Etianyan, roared, and the divine spear in his hand pierced through Etianyan's body. He wanted to return the favor. "I don't have that much patience." Evil spirits mode. A black light flashed in Etianyan's eyes, and in the next moment, a black flame burst out from the surface of his body, and at the same time his body expanded rapidly. And in a blink of an eye, he turned into an evil spirit holding a divine sword, and slashed at the Spirit King stage powerhouse who was about to catch Luo Yin. Immediately, the black flame turned into a black sword chi and flew towards the Spirit King stage cultivator, who was about to catch Luo Yin. It was as if the sword chi could track its target and cut the Spirit King stage cultivator in half. It was like cutting a piece of tofu, and it was as easy as cutting a piece of tofu. At the same time, the divine spear had already pierced towards Luo Yin, and every inch of space that it passed was turned into dust. But when the spear was about to reach Etianyan, he stretched out his hand and grabbed the head of the spear, and the terrifying attack was stopped. Great General Ming Shun was shocked. No matter how he attacked, he couldn't even pierce half an inch into the spear. This was an attack that he had used all of his strength, but it was completely useless. It had been completely blocked outside. Chapter 643. Seeing that Etianyan was holding the divine spear, General Ming Shun was shocked. He wanted to pull it back, but it didn't budge at all. No matter how much strength he used, he couldn't move it even a little bit. Just when he was about to burn his blood essence to suppress Etianyan, Etianyan picked up the divine spear and lifted General Ming Shun up. As soon as he lifted it up, he swung it forward. Boom! Jiyang attacked, and Etianyan used General Ming Shun as a shield. Because the speed was too fast, Jiyang didn't even have time to react, and the divine fan in his hand slashed down on General Ming Shun's body. Pumph! Great General Ming Shun snorted. He felt like his body was about to be cut open. In fact, there was indeed a huge wound. General Ming Shun was hit hard on his back, and he didn't even have the slightest defense. It was hard for him not to be seriously injured. Ming Shun. Ji Yang's face changed, and he quickly retracted his attack. He grabbed General Ming Shun and dragged him behind him, but General Ming Shun didn't move at all. "Did I allow you to take him away?" Etianyan's eyes turned cold, and he grabbed General Ming Shun and dragged him back. Even Ji Yang was dragged by General Ming Shun, and he couldn't pull him back at all. In the end, he had to let go of General Ming Shun. Bang! After Etianyan dragged General Ming Shun over, he slammed General Ming Shun into the ground. His entire body had been smashed into the hard ground, and his entire body had sunk in. In particular, the wound on his back was so deep that his bones could be seen. It was truly a ghastly sight. What a domineering power! How did he cultivate? What kind of race is he? Ji Yang's face turned ugly. He wanted to save General Ming Shun, but he couldn't do it. Everyone looked at Yi Tianyun in shock. Even a Spirit King stage expert was easily killed by an attack from a distance. Although they could attack from afar, the power of such a long-range attack was reduced. However, not only did his power not decrease, it still maintained its terrifying power. More importantly, this huge body was pitch black and was more than 2 meters tall. Its entire body was pitch black, and black flames spread out in all directions, even burning great General Ming Shun, who was under its feet. Get lost! The underworld god general's body emitted the surging heavenly Yin fire, which revolved inside his body and quickly enveloped Yi Tianyun. This scene shocked Elder Luo and the others. They almost forgot that this guy can also release the heavenly Yin fire. It's easy to get hit by it. When the heavenly Yin fire rolled up, the black flame on Yi Tianyun's body immediately suppressed it, and even swallowed it at an even more terrifying speed, burning the great General Ming Shun to the point that he screamed in pain. What kind of flame is this? Get out of my way! General Ming Shun couldn't get up no matter how hard he tried. He was trampled under Yi Tianyun's feet, and he couldn't move at all. Friend, if you kill him, we will make sure that you die without a burial place. If you leave now, we will not hold you responsible. Ji Yang walked over and began to negotiate. Previously, they thought that Yi Tianyun didn't have an equal status to communicate with them, but now they finally knew that he was strong enough to crush them. They didn't dare to say that he could defeat their holy lord, but at least he could destroy their plan now. If they let these Phoenix Clan people go, then their plan would be in vain. For example, if they escaped to the mortal world, or even the heavenly realm, who would be able to find them? Even in the ghost world, if they really wanted to hide, it would be extremely difficult to find them. The ghost world was too big, and there were many places that even the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom hadn't been to before. Do you think you are qualified to negotiate with me now? Yi Tianyun held General Ming Shun's divine spear and stabbed it at General Ming Shun's body, nailing him to the ground. I am going to kill you. General Ming Shun, who was nailed to the ground by the flames, shouted loudly. What he felt now was not pain, but a kind of humiliation. As a holy king, he was trampled on the ground and couldn't move. This humiliation was worse than killing him. There are many people who want to kill me, and you are not one of them. But if someone wants to kill me, I always like to eliminate them. Yi Tianyun sneered, and the black flames on his body quickly began to burn faster, causing General Ming Shun to growl. Even if General Ming Shun was a veteran of hundreds of battles and had suffered countless injuries, the black flames could even burn his soul. The pain was not easy to get rid of. How dare you? Ji Yang was furious. This was his companion for many years, and he couldn't just watch him die. Heavenly Yin Divine Soldiers, come over! The Heavenly Yin Divine Soldiers, who were originally capturing the Phoenix Clan, quickly gathered after hearing Ji Yang's summon. Activate the array! Ji Yang roared and closed the divine fan in his hand, and a large array immediately appeared under his feet. This group of Heavenly Yin Divine Soldiers quickly gathered and stepped into the array. The Heavenly Yin fire in their body immediately flowed along the array's meridians and rushed into Ji Yang's body. In the next moment, a huge nether dragon was formed by the Heavenly Yin fire. However, this nether dragon was condensed by the Heavenly Yin fire, which made it look even more terrifying and powerful. The combat power displayed by the appraisal, I was the best proof of its combat power. It was 8 billion combat power. As expected of a large array, it gathered all of its power and burst out with even more terrifying power. Especially with Ji Yang presiding over this large array, its power was even more amazing. I didn't want to use this array so soon, but I didn't expect that you would force me to use it. Ji Yang's eyes flashed with killing intent, and he was ready to control the Nether Dragon Divine Array to attack. The power is not bad, but what if there are a few people who are wrong? Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed with a strange light, and two of the heavenly divine soldiers who were within the fifth layer of Spirit King stage suddenly froze. Immediately, a terrifying heavenly fire burst out from their body, and the large array that was originally balanced was immediately destroyed. What's going on? Jiang was incredibly shocked. He raised his head and looked at the Abyss Dragon, who was acting strangely. Then he quickly shouted, "Run!" As soon as Jiang shouted, the nether dragon in the sky suddenly exploded and turned into a terrifying heavenly fire rain that directly devoured the heavenly divine soldiers. Ding! Successfully killed a heavenly divine soldier. Reward 2. 1 billion EXP, 30,000 crazy points, 5,000 SPs. Obtained heavenly divine art, heavenly great array. Reward: heavenly fire, low-grade earth level, heavenly divine armor, high-grade sacred tool, heavenly boots, high-grade sacred tool. Ding! Successfully killed a heavenly divine soldier. Reward: 3 billion EXP. Ding! A 5th or 6th layer Spirit King stage expert could give him 1 billion EXP, which made him speechless. That was because he had stacked all of his EXP card, Crazy Points card, and Sin Value card. Chapter 644. Ding! Successfully killed a heavenly divine soldier. Reward: 3 billion EXP, 30,000 crazy points. Ding! Successfully killed. Ding! Congratulations to player Yun for successfully breaking through to 5th layer Spirit King stage. Ding! Congratulations to player Yun for successfully breaking through to 6th layer Spirit King stage. More than half of the heavenly divine soldiers were killed by the Dark Dragon's explosion. That was a terrifying power. How could they be fine with their cultivation? Those who escaped quickly would be fine, but those who were slower, especially those who were in the center of the formation, would definitely die. Especially the two heavenly divine soldiers controlled by Yun. They were directly killed by the explosion. Since he was the leader of the formation, the EXP of the other heavenly divine soldiers that died will be counted to him. It would be a huge loss if the EXP was not counted to him. With the 221 times EXP stacking, he leveled up 2 times in a row. Originally, he was about to break through to 5th layer Spirit King stage, but now that he got so much EXP, he could naturally level up again. Since he knew that the heavenly netherworld divine nation was going to attack, it meant that he was going to go all out. In this state, he would definitely go on a killing spree. For this, even if he had to sell everything he had, he would buy all the EXP cards he had. With all the EXP stacking, he reached an amazing number. This was the highest value in history, shocking everyone. It crushed everyone else. What the hell happened? Why did they suddenly lose control? Jiang looked at the surviving heavenly divine soldiers and was shocked and angry. They had been cultivating for so long. How could they make a mistake? But they made a mistake here, and it was a very serious mistake. He could feel that 2 of his men suddenly burst out with their strongest power. This was not as simple as a mistake, it was deliberate. Otherwise, who would burst out with such strong power? Once the power was out of balance, it would lead to an explosion. This was the biggest weakness of the fusion formation. Once it failed, it would be very dangerous. If he didn't escape quickly, he would have been seriously injured by the explosion. Didn't you want to attack? Where is the attack? Yun smiled indifferently, as if everything was under his control. Previously, Jiang had been smiling confidently, but now, he had already lost control of himself. He was in a sorry state. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the people he brought with him died. Initially, Elder Lei and the others were trapped. Now, they had managed to escape and recover. He stared blankly at the place where the explosion had occurred, feeling extremely shocked in his heart. Fortunately, something had gone wrong. Otherwise, it would have been really difficult for them to deal with. In his heart, he rejoiced in their misfortune. This kind of thing should happen more often. He sighed at their good luck. What they didn't know was that all of this was caused by Yun's Eyes of Charm. A single charm was enough to make the heavenly divine soldier lose control. Is this your doing? Jiang was furious. No matter how he thought about it, he felt that it was Yun's fault. If it wasn't him, who else could it be? My doing? So what? You bunch of trash, it's not enough to kill you all. Yi Tianyin looked down at the burnt General Ming Shun on the ground and said indifferently, "It's about time to send him on his way." "How dare you?" Ji Yang shouted and wanted to rush over to help General Ming Shun. However, everything was too slow. Yi Tianyin grabbed the divine spear and swung it to the side, cutting Great General Ming Shun in half. Great General Ming Shun was dead. Ding! Successfully killed General Ming Shun. Reward: 20 billion EXP, 150,000 crazy points, 20,000 SPs. Reward: Heavenly Een Grand Array, Heavenly Een Divine Secret Art. Reward: Heavenly Een Fire, Mid-Grade Earth Level. Evil Spirit Bloodline Rare, Evil Spirit Soul Rare. Ding! Reward: 500 million EXP, 100,000 crazy points, 10,000 SPs. 1 Super Enhanced Lottery Roulette Ticket. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyin for successfully breaking through to 7th layer Spirit King stage. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyin for successfully breaking through to 8th layer Spirit King stage. Killing General Ming Shun gave him 20 billion EXP, which made Yi Tianyin's heart tremble. This was simply too frightening. It was simply an explosive value, an unimaginable value. Yi Tianyin couldn't even imagine it before, but now it appeared in front of him. General Ming Shun's basic EXP was almost 100 million, and with more than 200 times of Express, it reached a shocking number. Although it was difficult to level up, but with such a crazy amount of EXP, it was like nothing. This is crazy. Yi Tianyin never felt that he leveled up so fast, and his strength increased by leaps and bounds. At this rate, if he killed Ji Yang, he would reach peak Spirit King stage. Ji Yang's cultivation was higher than General Ming Shun, so his EXP was even more amazing. After killing General Ming Shun, he would get another 20 billion EXP. At this time, Ji Yang was already charging towards Yi Tianyin, releasing his strongest power. His body began to change, and his face became distorted. The next moment, his whole body turned black, and tentacles grew out of his body as if he had countless hands. However, these tentacles quickly fused and turned into 2 hands, turning into a 4-armed powerhouse. Whether it was his size or strength, he had a great breakthrough, as if he had transformed into a demon god, holding 4 divine tools in his hands. His strength was unparalleled. This is the power of the evil spirit race. Divine Messenger, be careful. Elder Luo shouted in the distance. Yi Tianyin squinted his eyes, and detailed data immediately appeared in front of him. Ji Yang, transformed into the evil spirit race. The strongest ability is to evolve 8 arms, and each additional arm can greatly increase his strength. His defense and strength have been greatly increased, at least 3 times, and his overall combat power is 1 billion. Due to the imperfect bloodline, after using this ability, his cultivation will drop. Terrifying. When he transformed into the evil spirit race, his combat power soared to 1 billion, which was shocking. Sure enough, the power of the bloodline was the most terrifying existence. It could instantly increase a person's strength by a lot. No wonder the human race's bloodline looked down on them. Their own strength was already terrifying, and when they used it, it would reach a heaven-defying level. It's just that the power was not pure enough, and the side effect of using it is indeed strong. No wonder Ji Yang refused to use it in the beginning. Now that General Ming Shun was killed, he was completely enraged, and he must use his strongest power to crush Yi Tianyin. "I want you to die!" Ji Yang roared, and just the sound wave alone lifted a large piece of the ground in front of him, and the shock wave spread in all directions. No one could stop it. Chapter 645. Ji Yang didn't look handsome at all now. He had completely transformed into a god of slaughter, a demon, brandishing the divine weapons in his 4 arms as he charged over. His speed soared in a straight line, far exceeding his previous strength. Who would have thought that Ji Yang still had such strong strength? Even if the old ancestor is here, he wouldn't be able to stop Ji Yang, right? Elder Luo and the others were stunned. They had never seen the evil spirit race's eruption before. Now that they saw it, their hearts trembled. Even if their old ancestor erupted, it might not be as amazing as Ji Yang's eruption. However, the side effects of the Phoenix race's eruption were very small, but the side effects of the evil spirit race's eruption were too great. Not only did it last for a long time, but the side effects were also immediate. They didn't know about this. They only knew that Ji Yang was very powerful, and his violent strength was far from what they could compare with. Now, it was not the Phoenix race's old ancestor who wanted to deal with him, but Yi Tianyun. However, Yi Tianyun also looked extremely domineering. He had transformed into an evil spirit, looking tall and mighty, handsome and evil, especially with 2 horns on his head and a pair of black wings condensed from black flames on his back. His aura was obviously stronger than Ji Yang's. "Daddy, be careful," Luo Yin shouted loudly, feeling extremely worried. "Don't worry, your daddy isn't that bad." Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently, looking at Ji Yang, who was rushing over, and said indifferently, "If my cultivation hadn't broken through, it would have been really difficult to deal with. Can my eruption increase so much? Compared to the original state, my strength has increased by more than 4 times, almost 5 times, right?" At first, Ji Yang's combat power was less than 2 billion, but now it was 1 billion. This kind of improvement was already at a heaven-defying level. Roar! The first thing to arrive was the terrifying sound wave, which instantly enveloped Yi Tianyun, but it only brushed past his body, not causing him any harm. On the contrary, the ground around his feet seemed to have been plowed, rolling up and down. In an instant, Ji Yang appeared in front of Yi Tianyun and smashed the 4 divine tools in his hand towards Yi Tianyun's body. The 4 divine tools emitted a bright light. Yi Tianyun was using 4 divine tools at the same time, which was more than enough to crush most experts. Every divine artifact had a different effect. The first divine fan was like a dagger, and it was aimed at his chest. Another divine sword was aimed at his head. The ice-cold heavenly Een fire was surrounding the sword, and it vaguely transformed into a ghost that was trying to bite him. Next was a giant axe, and it was aimed at his waist. The sharp edge of the axe was enough to cut through the void. The last one was a long spear. It was the weapon with the longest attack range. It was aimed at his head, and it wanted to pierce through his head in one fell swoop. The 4 divine artifacts were stacked on top of each other, and their power was stacked up crazily. That was why they had such terrifying combat power. Myriad slaughters. Ji Yang's eyes were bloodshot as he slashed down. 4 resplendent rays of light locked down every direction of escape. It could be said that there was nowhere to run, unless they drilled into the ground. But even if they drilled into the ground, they would still be dug out by the 4 weapons. After displaying this amazing technique, countless skeletons swarmed out of the weapons and bit down on Yi Tianyun. If he was bitten, he would definitely lose a large piece of flesh. Power doesn't come from just roaring, and it doesn't come from so many weapons. It comes from real power. Yi Tianyun had already condensed a terrifying black flame in his hand. It condensed in his fist, and in the next moment, he aimed at Ji Yang and heavily hooked his fist. The black flame behind him condensed the power of the black wings. In an instant, it merged into his entire arm. Dense divine runes appeared on his arm. Evil spirits descend. His eyes flickered with black light. Then he hooked his fist, and a thick black light shrouded down from the sky. In fact, it pierced through his fist and pierced through the sky. Both he and Ji Yang were enveloped in it. At this moment, the power of the 2 collided, causing a violent explosion. Boom! The deafening sound spread throughout the entire phoenix nest. The power that came from it was several times stronger than the power that came from the phoenix cave. Even though everyone was standing far away, the aftermath of this power caused them to continuously retreat, and they almost fell to the ground. What a terrifying power! Apart from these words, there was nothing else that could be said. It was really too shocking. The Imperial Tutor will definitely win, definitely. The people of Netherheaven Divine Nation's hearts sank. They couldn't help but shout. They didn't want their Imperial Tutor to lose. If he lost, they would really be finished. The Divine Envoy will definitely win. The Phoenix Nest believed that Yi Tianyun would win. At present, Yi Tianyun was their hope. If Etianyan died, then they would also be finished. Just thinking about it made them feel a bit sad. They were a dignified Phoenix clan, but they were protected by a human. But thinking about the fact that he was a divine envoy, they didn't think much of it. They had long regarded Etianyan as one of their own. Under the prayers of everyone, the black light that received the arrival of the evil spirits quickly spread in all directions. Wherever it went, the ground was annihilated inch by inch. Until the black light covered a radius of 1 kilometer, it finally stopped. As the black light gradually dissipated, what appeared in front of everyone's eyes was still Etianyan's stalwart body. He was just standing there motionlessly, not even moving half a step. As for Jiyang, they couldn't see any trace of him. All they could see was a pile of ashes. Not far away, for divine tools had fallen to the ground. All of them were scorched. Imperial tutor, everyone was horrified. They didn't see the Imperial tutor, but when they saw the 4 divine tools fall to the ground, they knew that their Imperial tutor had died and turned into a pile of ashes. He was burned to ashes. A St. King stage powerhouse was burned to ashes just like that. Everyone took a deep breath. Even if this flame was a mortal fire, it wouldn't be able to do it so easily, right? In fact, this was the inextinguishable flame, but it was the inextinguishable flame that had been strengthened several times. With the power of the Imperial Phoenix bloodline, the power of immortal fire is incomparable to heavenly fire. It can burn all evil things, including Jiyang. Etianyan didn't use the power of the Imperial Phoenix bloodline before, but when facing Jiyang, he used it. If he didn't use it, he would be able to suppress the Imperial tutor. Because he didn't have much time left. The 200 times EXP card only had a little time left. If he didn't kill Jiyang now, it would be a waste. Ding, successfully killed Jiyang. Reward, 22. 4 billion EXP, 180. 000 crazy point, 400. 000 SBS reward. Heavenly Divine Secret Art. Netherworld Divine Palm. Netherworld Divine Secret Art. Heavenly Grand Array. Evil Spirit Divine Secret Art. Items obtained. Evil Spirit Divine Sword. Inferior Grade Divine Artifact. Evil Spirit Divine Armor. Inferior Grade Divine Artifact. Evil Spirit Boots. Inferior Grade Divine Artifact. Evil Spirit Bloodline. Grade 2. Evil Spirit Soul Rare. Evil Spirit Bone Rare. Evil Spirit Secretary Rare. Ding. Reward. 500 million EXP. 100. 000 crazy point 5. 000 SBS. 1 extra lottery ticket. Chapter 646. Ding! Congratulations to player Etianyan for successfully breaking through to 9th layer Spirit King stage. Ding! Congratulations to player Etianyan for successfully breaking through to the peak of Spirit King stage. After ascending 2 levels in a row, Etianyan was stuck at the peak of Spirit King stage. He had thought that he would be able to break through to the Saint King stage, but now it seems that he had thought too much. Advancing from the peak Spirit King stage to the Saint King stage required 15 billion EXP. One should know that advancing from the first layer to the second layer of the Spirit King stage required 3 billion EXP. At the later stages, it would require 8 to 9 billion, or even 10 billion EXP. As such, the seemingly ridiculous amount of EXP was only enough to level up 1 or 2 levels. But this was already shocking enough. From the 4th layer of Spirit King stage to the peak Spirit King stage, he spent almost 9 million crazy points to buy EXP cards. This kind of consumption was too shocking. The experience card was too expensive. Fortunately, he had a 50% discount coupon, so he only used it now. Everything was half price, but even so, it still made his heart ache. 80 times the EXP card cost 2 million crazy point. After half-price card, it only cost 1 million crazy point, but it was still expensive. As for those that are 50 times, they also need more than 1 million crazy points. Even those that are 20 or 30 times, the price is as high as 1 million crazy points. If he didn't use the half-price card, he would need at least 10 to 20 million crazy points. Now that the half-price card cost 8 or 9 million yuan, it was also very painful. However, facing so many experts, how could he not use it? Foundation is always the most important. and he has so many crazy points, he can just earn it back. Ding. 80 times experience card time up. Ding. 50 times experience card time is up. Ding. 1 hour was really too short. It would be great if it could be longer. However, most of the cultivators have been eliminated, and the 2 Saint Kings have been killed. What else could they ask for? The most valuable ones were these 2 Saint Kings. The rest were just average. Of course, if they could last a little longer, he would not mind. It was a pity that he could only last until he killed the heavenly netherworld Holy King. If he could kill all 3 of them, the experience points would be exploding. However, he can only think about it for now. It would still take some effort to deal with them, especially since it would also take up a lot of time outside. After killing the rest of the Spirit King stage experts, Tianyun returned to his original state. Since he didn't enter the combat state for the time being, he didn't need to maintain this state. It would consume a lot of crazy point. It's over for now. Tianyun swept his gaze across the crowd. The eyes of the Phoenix clan members were filled with shock. It took a long time for them to recover from their shock. 2 great Saint Kings had been easily killed, so how could they not be shocked? If he hadn't arrived in time, he wouldn't have known what had happened. Most of them had probably been captured, and there were even quite a few casualties. If they resisted too much, they would definitely kill them. They wouldn't insist on capturing them. Hurry up and find a place to hide. We are safe for now. I have killed all the cultivators from Heavenly Netherworld Divine Kingdom outside. However, I'm not sure if there will be any reinforcements, said Tianyun as he walked over. Everyone nodded and immediately ran to hide with the injured. They were frozen by the heavenly fire before. If they want to recover now, they must find a place to slowly recover. Otherwise, they won't be able to fight anymore. Daddy, Luo Yin whispered, but it was not as smooth as before. She didn't directly throw herself into Tianyun's arms, which meant that she knew that Tianyun was not her father. Do you remember anything? Tianyun reached out and rubbed Luo Yan's little head. It's good that you remember. Just call me Big Brother E. It's weird to call me Daddy. After all, I am not Elder Luo's son-in-law. I am just a friend who helped you come back. No, I can call you Godfather. Luo Yan's beautiful eyes flashed, and suddenly she grabbed Tianyun's arm and said in surprise, Godfather, you are amazing. That was a Saint King stage expert. What did you look like when you transformed? We have never seen it before. Godfather, Tianyun touched his nose, feeling a little embarrassed, but calling him Godfather is better than calling him Father. Divine Envoy, it's really thanks to you that we are fine. If you didn't come back in time, Elder Luo clutched his chest, his face was pale, and his injuries were obviously not light. Hurry up and hide. There is still the biggest one that hasn't been eradicated. I will go and take a look first. Tianyun signaled them to hide quickly. Luo Yin and the others nodded and immediately evacuated with their people. The Phoenix Nest has a very safe place, so they quickly evacuated and quickly went to the safe house. Tianyun didn't stop and quickly went to the Phoenix Cave. He didn't even get close to the Phoenix Cave, but he immediately felt the energy fluctuations coming from inside. The fluctuations were getting stronger and stronger, which was obviously the result of crazy attacks. It seems that the war is not over. It should be said that it has just begun. Tianyun immediately ran down, and the closer he got, the more he could feel the terrifying power coming from inside. When he went down, he saw 3 Holy King ancestors frantically attacking the heavenly netherworld Holy King in the distance. The heavenly netherworld Holy King blocked their joint attack with one hand, and at the same time, he constantly absorbed the souls that came out of the seal. Although it was very slow, as he absorbed more and more souls, the heavenly netherworld Holy King's cultivation had reached the peak of the Saint King stage. In the face of the crazy attacks of the 3 Holy Kings, he could easily resist them with a divine artifact. It must be known that the 3 Holy King ancestors used all their skills, and their cooperation was very tacit. They were simply the best partners. The superimposed power was not as simple as 1 + 1, but several times the power. This could be seen from the explosive combat power of the heavenly netherworld Holy King, which was more than 14 billion combat power. If the 3 of them joined forces to deal with Ji Yang, they would definitely be able to suppress him easily. How could the three old ancestors be simple characters? Their overbearing power, close cooperation, and even continued to be superimposed. They were terrifying enough, but the heavenly netherworld Holy King was even more terrifying. After absorbing the souls, the effect of the medium-grade divine artifact on his chest was maximized. It was indestructible and could resist a combat power of 16 billion. Chapter 647. Heavenly Netherworld Holy King. Peak of the Saint King stage, infinitely close to the Divine King stage. Wearing a low-grade divine armor and a middle-grade divine artifact on his chest. Possessing the purest bloodline of the evil spirit race. The side effects of eruption are close to zero. He belongs to the relatively complete form of the evil spirit race. Martial arts. Heavenly divine art. Heavenly divine fire, etc. Its weakness was the extreme yang fire. Preliminary judgment. His current comprehensive battle power is 14 billion battle power, and the details will continue to increase. With the appraisal eye, the detailed situation appeared in front of him. His battle power is as high as 14 billion, which is more than a level higher than Ji Yang. The key is that he is not erupted with his true body. Once he erupts with his true body, it is estimated that his battle power will be more than this. This is just like Ji Yang. When he truly erupts with power, it will greatly increase. Especially this old ancestor of the evil spirit race. It represents that the eruption is undoubtedly more amazing and more overbearing. He is already strong enough now. Using the power of the divine artifact, he can easily suppress the power of the three old ancestors. It has to be said that the higher the level, the more heaven-defying the increase in battle power is. Later on, it is completely enhanced by leaps and bounds. When he breaks through to the next level, he will probably break through to a few 100 million battle power, even 5 or 600 million, 7 or 800 million. This is really a higher level of cultivation, can suppress a large number of cultivators. Unless he relies on divine artifacts to make up for it. Now that the heavenly netherworld Holy King has so many divine artifacts, even if the three old ancestors all have divine artifacts, there is still a big gap in comparison. I didn't expect the heavenly netherworld Holy King to have the same body as this evil spirit race. The evil spirit race's attainments in the soul are really amazing. Etienne felt that he had entered a whole new world. It is too difficult for them to leave their body. As for separating a part of their soul and then possessing others, or transforming into another life. This was basically impossible, but to the evil spirit race, they were able to do this. It means that they have an extra life. Even if the other clone is killed, at least they will still be alive. How could it be like they were dead? They were really dead. Of course, after their avatars were killed, their souls would be injured, but at least they were still alive. They just had to slowly recover. It was better than dying. This kind of ability does not need to be envious, because after he killed Ji Yang and the others, he will have to go back and study it. With the ability to create more doppelgangers, it would definitely be best. This way, he would be able to do more things. If he could kill this evil spirit race being in front of him, he would definitely obtain a much purer reward. However, it did not seem that easy to deal with the heavenly netherworld Holy King. 100 Clan Leader. Etienne looked at the heavenly netherworld Holy King and then looked at Bai Shui Huang. Bai Shui Huang also saw Ji Yang coming down, so she wanted to see what was going on. If Ji Yang and the others were to come down, Bai Shui Huang wouldn't believe them. They had to fight with their lives on the line. Otherwise, if the three ancestors were disturbed, they wouldn't be able to break through Holy King Tianming's defense. Divine Messenger, why did you come back? It's so dangerous outside. Bai Shui Huang was shocked when she saw that Etienne was able to come back, especially when she saw that he was able to come in. Could it be that the flame cage outside has been destroyed? The flame cage outside has indeed been destroyed, but don't worry. Only Holy King Tianming is left from the divine nation. I've taken care of the rest, Etienne said calmly. What? It wasn't just Bai Shui Huang. Even the three old ancestors were shocked. The heavenly netherworld divine nation had two holy kings, and they were defeated just like that? No one would believe that they were defeated by this young man in front of them. Bai Shuiwang knew that Yi Tianyun's strength was not bad, but she didn't know that Yi Tianyun's strength was so strong. Big words. I don't know how you sneaked in, but do you think the Imperial teacher and the others are that easy to deal with? If you want to distract me, you should at least come up with a better lie. This lie is far too hilarious. Holy King Heavenly Netherworld chuckled coldly in disdain, thinking that this was a joke. Not to mention him. Even Bai Shuiwang and the others thought that Yi Tianyun was lying to distract the Heavenly Netherworld Holy King. But isn't this lie a bit too fake? If even they don't believe it, how can they deceive the Heavenly Netherworld Holy King? The three old ancestors shook their heads. They had all heard of a human divine messenger, but now it seems that it was a bit unreliable. They knew what Yi Tianyun's intention was, but it was a bit too fake. He should have said that other god kingdoms had come to help. That would have been more believable. But now, this lie was too unreliable. Whether it's a lie or not, you can go out and see for yourself. I don't need to lie to you. Yi Tianyun stepped towards the side of the three old ancestors. Don't go over there. Bai Shuiwang wanted to stall Yi Tianyun, but she was still a step too late. Yi Tianyun had already stepped into their attack range. The three old ancestors continued to release their strongest attacks. The energy released was enough to send a Spirit King stage expert flying, but it was nothing to Yi Tianyun. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. Even if they were standing on the side, they would be sent flying immediately. On the contrary, Yi Tianyun stood there unscathed. He didn't feel anything at all. The energy released was like a gust of wind blowing on his body. At most, it would bring him a cool feeling, but it wouldn't blow him away. It seems that if I let you continue, you will have a great chance to break through to the God King realm. If I had come a little later, I'm afraid you would have succeeded, but unfortunately, I'm here. Yi Tianyun felt that this heavenly netherworld holy king might really break through to the God King realm after absorbing all the souls. Even if he didn't break through to the God King realm, he was infinitely close to the God King realm. Not bad. Even the three old guys can't deal with me. But you, before he could finish his words, Yi Tianyun's eyes turned dark and his body began to grow bigger and bigger. He immediately turned into a huge evil spirits. Terrible black flames surrounded his body, and huge black flame wings spread out from his back. If he didn't control the black flames, he would have burned everything around him. The terrifying power appeared again, and even the three old ancestors could feel the pressure coming from Yi Tianyun. How did the divine messenger become so powerful? Bai Shuiwang and the others were shocked. They tried to dissuade Yi Tianyun from going to the heavenly netherworld holy king realm, but now it seems that they thought too much. At this time, they thought back to what Yi Tianyun said before. Is it true? Did he really kill all the people from the heavenly netherworld divine nation? Chapter 648. After transforming into the evil spirits, Yi Tianyun's eyes narrowed, and with a wave of his hand, the heavenly nether divine sword appeared in his hand, and the black flame wings on his back disappeared instantly. Immediately, all of the divine runes on the heavenly nether divine sword lit up, making it look very dazzling. Break! Yi Tianyun stepped forward and created a pit on the ground. Then, he threw himself towards the heavenly netherworld divine nation. Yi Tianyun's speed was so fast that he turned into a black light whistling away. The black flame wrapped around his body was like a beautiful black rose blooming in the air. However, the power of this black rose had reached an unprecedented level, and when it was used on the heavenly nether divine sword, its combat power reached as high as 17 billion. With his cultivation at the peak of the Spirit King stage, he could deal 16 times the damage. And with the evil spirits set, his combat power immediately reached 17 billion. If there was an ordinary Holy King or Spirit King stage expert standing nearby, his body would be instantly pierced and burned to ashes. Now that it was pierced through, even the void was about to be burned away. The surrounding walls were being burned to ashes inch by the scorching flames. The terrifying power made Heavenly Nether Holy Lord's pupils shrink, and a sense of crisis surged in his heart. Open! Heavenly Nether Holy King quickly formed a hand seal, and the divine artifact in his body quickly bloomed with stronger power. Layers of defense appeared outside his body, and it was several times stronger than the one he used to block the three old ancestors. It was obvious that this was the strongest defensive effect he could unleash. Previously, he had only used half of his strength. Now that he felt the crisis, he immediately used all of his strength to block Etienne's terrifying attack. He had a hunch that if he didn't do this, he would be pierced through by Etienne. He didn't have the appraisal eye, so he didn't know how strong the Black Rose was, so he could only choose to strengthen his defense. He wanted to quickly dodge or use other power to block the Black Rose, but he couldn't do that now. Once he left this place, it would be very difficult for him to continue absorbing souls. Once he severed the connection, the three patriarchs would definitely return to suppress this place and prevent him from continuing. What powerful defense! I didn't think that the other party would only use half of his strength when we were dealing with him earlier. We have really been underestimated. The faces of the three old ancestors darkened. They had already given it their all, but the other party had only used half of his strength. Wasn't that looking down on them? In reality, he was looking down on them. The three old ancestors indeed cooperated extremely well, but their cultivations were still too low. A higher official could crush a person to death. In this place, a higher cultivation level was enough to crush the three of them to death. No matter how strong their cooperation was, if the difference in cultivation was too great, there was no way for them to make up for it. Following that, the Nether Heaven Divine Sword pierced through layer after layer of such a strong defensive power. It was as if it was piercing through a thin piece of paper, easily piercing through. Layer after layer was pierced through without any pressure at all. In fact, the black flames on the surface burned wildly, burning the thick defensive barrier into ashes. The spiritual power of the defensive shield was like an accelerant. Not only did it not weaken the black flames, but it also became more vigorous. How could this be? Heavenly Netherworld Holy King's face changed. He thought that he could resist it for a while, but who knew that he could not resist it at all? In the next moment, he could only choose to dodge to the side, but his speed was still a bit slower. The Nether Heaven Divine Sword pierced through his arm, and he subconsciously used his palm to block it. The divine artifact armor on his body also released a surging energy to resist this overbearing power. Unexpectedly, the sword still pierced through his palm, and the terrible black flames instantly burned his whole body, unable to stop. As for the Nether Heaven Divine Sword, after piercing through his palm, it penetrated the wall behind him and finally disappeared completely into the wall. Not even a shadow could be seen. The power of this throw was enough to pierce through the sky, and the overbearing black flames could even corrode everything. This flame, suppress it for me. Heavenly Netherworld Holy King snorted, and the surging heavenly fire quickly suppressed it. Although it was finally suppressed, his whole arm looked like it had been burnt to a crisp, which was enough to show how terrible the black flames were. As he dodged, the absorption of the soul was immediately cut off, and he could not continue to absorb the soul. The soul of the evil spirit cannot come out of the seal without external force, and can only roar at the bottom of the abyss. Rush over. The three old ancestors immediately rushed to the seal, wanting to reseal the evil spirit race. But at this time, Etienne came to the side, stood at the crack, and said indifferently, "Leave it to me." Immediately, he stretched out his hand and threw a terrible black flame, which continuously burned the evil spirit race, and immediately screams sounded. There is no doubt that the evil spirit race, which has been suppressed for a long time, began to quickly burn and disappear. What a terrible black flame! What kind of power is this? The three old ancestors were shocked, and the shock they felt today was more than the shock they felt in their entire life. Such a heaven-defying powerhouse. Is he really a human? And not a descendant of a divine king? Divine messenger, he is too strong. How did he cultivate? Bai Shui Wang was also shocked to the point that she did not know what to say. Patriarch. Elder Foam came down at this time. His face was full of horror, and Bai Shui Huang already knew some information. Many experts of the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom have indeed been killed. The answer that followed was within their expectations. Yi Tianyun did not lie. He did not lie from the beginning. It was just that they did not believe it. The sword attack just now made them believe that everything was true, and Yi Tianyun really killed all the experts of the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom. Damn it! The heavenly netherworld holy king's arm quickly recovered, and the flesh grew at a speed visible to the naked eye. Compared to the heaven primordial retired emperor's recovery speed, it was even a little faster. This terrifying healing ability is really amazing. It's a pity that your plan was ruined by me, but it seems that you have absorbed a lot of souls. Yi Tianyun looked at the heavenly netherworld holy king coldly. Although his soul was cut off, the heavenly netherworld holy king had absorbed too many souls, at least more than half of them. Otherwise, it would be impossible for his cultivation to improve so quickly. I have to say, you are the most powerful human I have ever seen. No, it should be said that you are the most powerful existence in the current human race. I did not expect the Phoenix race to have such a strong support. It is really beyond my expectations. The heavenly netherworld holy king's face was gloomy. He also heard what Elder Feng said. The other experts of the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom were killed. Chapter 649. The heavenly netherworld divine kingdom's biggest reliance was the three holy king powerhouses. Now that two holy kings and many elites of the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom were dead, what chance did they have? Under such circumstances, what chance did they have of winning? It should be said that if they were individually strong, they still had a great chance of winning, but now that so many of their people had died, the Phoenix race could escape at will. At most, he could only capture the Phoenix Nest, but he couldn't capture them one by one. The heavenly netherworld divine kingdom attacked this place. In addition to the resources here, they also wanted to capture the Phoenix race. After all, this was the real point. The precious Phoenix blood essence was a guarantee to enhance one's strength. Now, how could he capture them all by himself? He could only capture them one by one, unlike before when he could capture them all. Do you think you still have a chance of winning? Yi Tianyun looked at him indifferently. The black flame in his hand was constantly burning the evil spirit, trying to completely burn it to ashes. Affected by this, the heavenly netherworld holy king's face was slightly pale. The two were connected. The evil spirit was burning here, and the other side also felt intense pain. However, the heavenly netherworld holy king didn't immediately counterattack. The three old ancestors and Yi Tianyun were standing here. How could he attack? It's undeniable that you are strong, but do you really think you have a chance of winning? The heavenly netherworld holy king sneered. I will give you a chance since you are not from the Phoenix race. As long as you join my heavenly netherworld divine kingdom, I will not pursue this matter, and I will even give you a higher position. Don't think that you are strong now. There are many things that you don't know. Even if you have the power of a holy king, this is just the beginning. The heavenly netherworld holy king was trying to win over Yi Tianyun again. Not pursue this matter? I killed most of your men, including two holy kings, and you won't pursue this matter? Yi Tianyun said playfully. He wasn't in a hurry to fight at all. Anyway, he was burning the evil spirit bit by bit, and if he continued like this, he would be completely burned to death. Originally, he planned to work together with Bai Shui Wang to kill the evil spirit, but now, he didn't need to do so. He was now much stronger than before, and he didn't need Bai Shui Wang's help. He could burn the evil spirit by himself. With the super-enhanced immortal flame, coupled with his powerful strength, he could easily kill the evil spirit. Now that more than half of the malevolent spirit had been absorbed, the remaining portion would be even easier to kill. Although it was only a small portion, it was at least enough to severely injure Holy King Tianming. Although it was only a small part, but it was enough to kill the heavenly holy king. The heavenly netherworld holy king clenched his fists and said sternly, I need true experts, not weaklings. As he said these words, the aura of a powerhouse spread out in all directions, causing Bai Shui Huang and the others to feel the pressure on them increasing. This power was simply too strong. It was much stronger than theirs, so the pressure was naturally greater. Holy, 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 Holy Spirit Yang were much stronger than them were holy. Holy, holy King Soul. Holy, 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 holy land where Heave Saint was holy. He Heave holy, holy, was holy, holy Saint. He had holy, holy. He holy, 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 holy. Holy Saint. God King on God. Holy, holy Saint. If they didn't use their positions to tempt them, they would use various martial arts or treasures to tempt them. This was nothing new to him, but they thought it was useful to him. If it was someone else, it might be of some use, but it was meaningless to him. Even if he lacked these things, he was a man of principle and would never go with the flow. Fence-sitters often died the most miserably. Moreover, the Phoenix clan had never mistreated him. So why would he choose to betray them? No. As long as you stop this step, I won't pursue this matter. Holy King, Heavenly Netherworld said solemnly, I see that your talent is not bad. That's why I chose to do this. As long as you follow me, I will guarantee that you will become a God King in the future. The difficulty of becoming a God King in this world is simply too high. You will never be able to imagine how difficult it is. As long as you follow me, breaking through to the God King realm won't be a problem. It's not difficult to surpass the heaven-creating Divine King and the others. This time, the temptation was even more astonishing. Becoming a God King. Even the old ancestor of the Phoenix clan didn't dare to say such a thing. Who could guarantee that they would become a God King? But now, Holy King, Heavenly Netherworld could guarantee that he would become a God King. In fact, he could see that as long as he absorbed all the souls, even if he didn't break through to the God King realm, he would be almost there. All that was left was a little more time to break through to the God King realm. Therefore, he didn't feel that he was lying when he said such a thing. If his cultivation was only at the Spirit King stage, or even lower, it wouldn't be credible. Everyone looked at Tianyan. In the face of such a huge temptation, what would Tianyan choose? Would he choose to follow Holy King, Heavenly Netherworld, or stand on the same side as them? In fact, they all felt a bit tempted. Becoming a God King was a title of absolute powerhouse. Who wouldn't want to become a God King? The three old ancestors clenched the divine tools in their hands. If Tianyan agreed, it would mean that they would have one more enemy, and it would be an extremely powerful enemy. His palms are now oozing a little sweat, feeling so terrible, afraid that Tianyan will choose the opposite side. This meant that the Phoenix clan would be annihilated. Just Holy King, Heavenly Netherworld alone would be difficult to deal with, let alone Tianyan. However, they didn't intervene. All the choice was up to Tianyan. Tianyan didn't owe them anything. He was just a divine envoy. He didn't belong to the Phoenix clan. Therefore, no matter what choice they made, they wouldn't be ungrateful. They didn't give Tianyan anything. This is really a big temptation. Tianyan smiled indifferently. The black flame in his hand suddenly increased, and he slammed it on the ground. The black flame crazily devoured the remaining evil spirits. Accompanied by a scream, the evil spirit was completely turned into ashes. You actually gave up the opportunity to become a God King. Holy King, Heavenly Netherworld's face was pale, and blue veins were bulging on his forehead. You will die, and you will die miserably. He didn't expect that Tianyan would still choose to give up the temptation. Give up the opportunity to become a God King? Tianyan shook his head and said indifferently, You are too full of yourself. Even if I don't need you, I can still become a God King. That's all. Chapter 650. The perfect answer and the domineering action explained Tianyan's choice. The last bit of Heavenly Netherworld Holy King's soul was completely burned to ashes. Originally, it could have lasted for a while, but under the increased firepower, it was easily burned to ashes. This meant that his strength could still be improved further and would not stop at the current level. Bai Shui Huang and the others were overjoyed. It seems that in the end, Tianyan still chose to stand on their side and did not choose to leave with Heavenly Netherworld Holy King. It seems that in the end, he did not compromise under the temptation of becoming a divine king. If it were them, they would not have said such words. However, Etienne's response was even more domineering. Without heavenly netherworld holy king, he can still become a divine king. If it was someone else, they would not dare to say such words, but he was so confident. For him, if he did not even have such confidence, how could he be worthy of becoming a divine king? Very good, very good. Heavenly netherworld holy king sneered. Do you think you can kill me just because you destroyed my clone? You are too naive. I will make you regret this choice. His eyes were filled with anger. Although the damage was not big, who would be willing to lose something that could have been more perfect? Due to his great anger, his power crazily increased, especially the heavenly fire within his body. It seemed as if it had gone crazy. It wreaked havoc in all directions, and everything was frozen wherever it went. The terrifying heavenly fire was cold to the extreme. It could freeze everything. At the same time, his body began to grow larger. Arms grew out from other parts of his body, his chest, shoulders, and back. Each arm was as thick as a human's waist. He was simply the arm of a giant. Not good, he is going to transform. The bloodline power of the evil spirit race. The three old ancestors' faces changed. They had seen the power of the evil spirit race a long time ago. Even if they had not seen it in person, they had seen it in paintings. Immediately, they attacked frantically, trying to stop heavenly netherworld holy king's transformation. Once he transforms, that would be his true power. How could they resist at that time? How can a grain of rice compete? Heavenly netherworld holy king stretched out his hand and crushed the attacks of the three old ancestors. Even the attacks were frozen by the heavenly fire, then fell to the ground and turned into a pile of ice. After completely releasing his power and focusing on attacking, he was much stronger than before when he was only defending. The two of them could be said to be on a completely different level. He had just crushed the attacks of the three people when a black light pierced through the surrounding heavenly fire at an astonishing speed. It was completely suppressed by the black light, and it quickly arrived in front of his chest. Everything happened too fast, so fast that the heavenly netherworld holy king barely reacted and reached out to grab it. Clang! This sound was like the collision of metal. But there was no metal on the heavenly netherworld holy king's palm, and yet there was such a harsh sound. Boom! Following that, a wave of air rolled out from his hand, accompanied by a terrifying black flame. It rolled out in all directions, including towards Tianming Holy King. Under this terrifying penetrative force, Holy Monarch Heavenly Netherworld was sent flying for a distance. He only managed to stop after taking dozens of steps back. At this time, there were dozens of deep footprints in front of him, enough to prove how overbearing this attack was. That's a sacred tool. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They did not expect Etienne to be so generous. Previously, he threw a divine tool, and now he threw a sacred tool. Although the grade was much lower, it was still a high-rank sacred tool. It was undeniable that the effect of this move was very obvious. The power was quite extraordinary, and it was much stronger than a simple attack. There were also shortcomings. It would be fine if the opponent was killed, but if the opponent was not killed, it was equivalent to giving the opponent a weapon. Drip! A drop of blood flowed down his palm and fell to the ground. It did not spread on the ground, but burned a deep hole in the ground. Such an overbearing force only injured his palm, not even pierced through it. Previously, it could still pierce through his palm, but now it could not even pierce through it. Could it be that if the weapon was a sacred tool, the effect would be so much worse? The main point was that the attack was blocked by the giant hand that grew out of his chest. The surface of the giant hand that grew out of his chest was glowing with a faint golden luster, which looked very dazzling. Not only the palm on his chest, but even the other palms were glowing with a golden luster, as if they were plated with a layer of gold. His whole body had turned into a golden evil spirit. In addition to the normal 2 arms, 4 extra arms had grown, adding up to a total of 6 arms. He had 2 more arms than Ji Yang. Not only did he have 2 more arms, but his strength had also increased several times. reaching a frightening combat power. Holy Monarch, Heavenly Netherworld, peak of the Saint King stage, infinitely close to the strength of a God King. His whole body was glowing with a golden luster, and he had an indestructible golden body that could resist all attacks. His defense was very heaven-defying, comparable to the hardness of a low-ranked divine tool. His explosive power was even more amazing. He did not need any weapons. Just his fists were comparable to the strength of a low-ranked divine tool. His comprehensive combat power was as high as 22 billion. 22 billion battle power, which was several billion more than before. The difference between transforming and not transforming was really frighteningly big. Was this the power of the bloodline eruption? The Phoenix race could also erupt with amazing power, which was not inferior to the Holy Monarch eruption, but the cultivation of the three old ancestors was too weak. Even if they erupted, they still could not match the power of the Holy Monarch Heavenly Netherworld. No wonder it took two peak Holy Kings to suppress the Holy Monarch Heavenly Netherworld. In the end, some of his soul had slipped away, which was enough to prove that the strength of the Holy Monarch Heavenly Netherworld was slightly better than that of the Phoenix race. In the case of being suppressed, a lot of his soul had still slipped away, which was enough to prove that the strength of the Holy Monarch Heavenly Netherworld was slightly better than that of the Phoenix race. Although he was very strong, he was still injured by Etienne's attack, which meant that he was not absolutely invincible. The previous attack of Etienne had a combat power of 19 billion, which was a little lower than that of the Holy Monarch Heavenly Netherworld, but it did not mean that it could not hurt the Holy Monarch Heavenly Netherworld. But that was all. It only hurt the skin of the Holy Monarch Heavenly Netherworld. This wasn't his limit, but it was close to his limit. It was just a little bit away from exploding out. Even if he erupted, he would not be able to catch up with the Holy Monarch Heavenly Netherworld's combat power. The gap was really too big. If he continued to absorb a little more soul, Etienne felt that his combat power would not be at this level, but at least a level higher. He had to admit that it was too terrifying. It was the first time he had seen an opponent who could erupt with so much power. He had always thought that his crazy mode was heaven-defying enough, and in fact, it was indeed heaven-defying, but it did not mean that others would be inferior. Chapter 651. It's just a small injury. His defense is really amazing. Etienne was not surprised. He had used his appraisal eye to see the data, but he still had to use it to see what was going on. After he attacked, he immediately tested the Heavenly Netherworld Saint King's defense. It was really overbearing. Everyone's expression changed. Etienne's overbearing attack had only scratched the surface of the Heavenly Netherworld Saint King's skin. This made them feel despair. Even if Etienne did not join the Heavenly Netherworld Saint King's camp, the Heavenly Netherworld Saint King still had the power to crush them. It was no wonder that the Heavenly Netherworld Saint King had decided to attack. With such power, how could they not crush the Phoenix race? The Phoenix race's many years of foundation was not enough to defeat the evil spirit race. This made them feel very sad. They were sad that they were being suppressed. If they lost this battle, the Phoenix race would become slaves and be ordered around. What was more terrifying was that they would be kept in captivity. Every once in a while, the Heavenly Netherworld Saint King's blood essence would be extracted for them to absorb. The evil spirit race had chosen to suppress the Phoenix race because the Phoenix race's blood essence would be of great help to them. Otherwise, they would not have come to suppress the Phoenix clan for no reason. They would also choose to capture as many as they could. They weren't interested in the ordinary human bloodline at all, but they felt that it was good to work for them. Your strength is not bad, but you are still too weak. The Heavenly Netherworld Saint King sneered and waved his hand that was holding the short sword. A sharp light pierced through the air towards Etienne. Whether it was the strength or the speed, it was much stronger than Etienne's previous attack. In the blink of an eye, the light pierced through the air and arrived in front of Etienne. Etienne narrowed his eyes and reached out to grab the short sword. Dang! A deafening sound rang out. Etienne was pushed back by the terrifying force. He was forced to take a few steps back before he managed to stop himself. However, his hand was not injured at all. His terrifying defense had suppressed the attack. The evil spirits set and the ancient desolation set gave him astonishing defense. It was enough to withstand this terrifying attack. Sometimes being weak did not mean that one would lose. However, if one's combat strength was too weak, it meant that one's strength was definitely inferior to the opponent's, but it did not mean that one's defense would be weaker than the opponent's. Combat power included the value of defense, but the value of the increase was too low, so it was hard to see what kind of power it was. What a powerful force. Tianyin felt the web between his thumb and index finger go numb. His defense had nearly been pierced through. If not for his defense being slightly stronger, his body would have been pierced through. However, he had a few ways to prevent himself from being pierced through. He just wanted to feel how strong the other party was. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Such a tyrannical attack was actually blocked. This immediately gave them a little more hope. Oh, looks like your skin is quite tough. I'd like to see how many of my attacks you can take. Boom! The heavenly netherworld Saint King stomped on the ground, and the ground that was originally covered with divine inscriptions immediately crumbled and turned into a pile of dust. Soon after, he turned into a beam of golden light and pierced through the pitch-black room. He was like a sun that illuminated the room. He didn't use any weapons. He simply used his weapons to fight. His fist was comparable to a low-grade divine tool. So, why would he need a divine tool to attack? Good. Tianyun's eyes turned cold. The dragon god bloodline in his body crazily surged, and a faint layer of red appeared on the surface of his pitch-black body. Dragon god bloodline, activate. Royal Phoenix bloodline, activate. Under the dual activation, his combat power crazily soared. Fine dragon scales appeared on the surface of his pitch-black body. Even the pitch-black wings on his back began to turn into a pair of phoenix wings. The combination of the two formed a heaven-defying combination. 17. 5 billion. 18. 5 billion. 18. 5 billion. 19. 5 billion. 19. 5 billion. 20. 5 billion. 25 billion. Finally, his battle power stopped at 25 billion. Under the dual bloodline power, his battle power had increased by 5 billion. This was already quite heaven-defying. If not for his high grade, he wouldn't have been able to achieve such an amazing effect. At the same time, he activated his last trump card, and with a loud bang, he turned into a huge black meteorite to meet the attack. Boom! Boom! The black light and the golden light crazily collided with each other. It was like a black meteorite colliding with the sun, immediately triggering a terrifying force. The force that was enough to annihilate everything quickly shrouded the surroundings. The divine runes on the ground, including the stone statues on the side, were all shattered. The solid Phoenix Cave was about to collapse. Bai Shui Wang and the rest quickly left this place. They couldn't stay here any longer. Otherwise, the force here would be enough to affect them. The three old ancestors could withstand the force for a while, but for Bai Shui Wang and the rest, even if they didn't die, they would be crippled. It's too scary. The divine messenger's power is too strong. They saw each other's horrified eyes, but more than that, they hoped that Tianyun would win. If the heavenly netherworld Holy King won, they would definitely be finished. Even if their people escaped, they would not dare to come out in the future. Once they came out, they would be caught by the heavenly netherworld Holy King and then face the consequences of being sucked dry. I don't know who will win, but I hope that the divine messenger will win. They prayed in their hearts, but not long after, with a loud bang, a black light was smashed out of the Phoenix Cave. After it stopped in the air, everyone saw that it was Tianyun who was sent flying. Tianyun's chest was dented a few times, and there was no doubt that it was the result of being hit by a fist. Then, the heavenly netherworld Holy King flew out of the ground. Compared to Tianyun, the heavenly netherworld Holy King's condition was much better. Not only that, but his combat power had also increased from 22 billion to 23 billion. It seemed that the more he fought, the stronger he became. The more he persevered, the more terrifying his power was. Your power is not bad, but it is still too weak compared to me. How dare you compete with a mere human race's trash bloodline? The heavenly netherworld holy king looked down at him with disdain. The bloodline's power is enough to suppress you from the beginning. Not only that, but the power of my martial arts is also higher than yours. The heavenly netherworld holy king was not lying. Whether it was the grade of his martial arts or the gap in power, he was stronger than Etianyun. The heavenly netherworld holy king's martial arts were as high-grade heaven-level martial arts, and they were constantly being improved. Etianyun had a lot of martial arts, but there were only a few that were useful to him. The heaven-creating divine king's martial arts were powerful, but it could not make up for the gap between the two of them. Human race's trash bloodline? Etianyun's eyes lit up. It is undeniable that our human race's bloodline is very ordinary, but we have an incomparably firm Tao heart. So, the whole world belongs to us humans, and we have unlimited possibilities. In his opinion, there was nothing more important than having a firm Tao heart. If one did not even have a firm Tao heart, how could one cultivate? Even if one had amazing talent, without a firm Tao heart, one would not be able to break through to a higher realm. This was not nonsense. Chapter 652. Who doesn't know how to talk? Heavenly netherworld holy king's eyes were still full of disdain. Now you are the best proof. Your strength is not bad, but you are still suppressed by me. If you cultivated a little longer, you might have a chance to win, but unfortunately, now you are dead. The evil spirit race's bloodline surged in his body, and his whole body was covered in golden light, making him look like a righteous person. But who knows that his heart is extremely dirty, a monster who kills people like cutting grass. If he can't achieve his goal, he will not let go of innocent people or newborn babies. No, you are dead. Etianyun's eyes are flashing, but he is not in a hurry to attack. Instead, he is selling things like crazy, the repeated martial arts in the inventory, as well as some lower-grade weapons. All are sold. He spent too much crazy point to buy experience card before, which caused a lot of crazy point to be depleted. He doesn't have enough crazy point to buy 50 million crazy point. Fortunately, he earned a lot before, so he can make up for the difference of a few million crazy points. I'm dead? You're really full of yourself. It's time to end this. Don't waste my time. Heavenly netherworld holy king said solemnly. But I won't kill you so quickly. I will let you know what it feels like to die. Etianyun destroyed his soul. He will definitely not let him go easily. He will definitely torture him before killing him. Otherwise, how can he calm the anger in his heart? Seeing their state, everyone was worried, thinking that the odds of winning this time are not big. The three of us can't just wait. We are ready to go all out and burn our lives. The three old ancestors didn't plan to just watch from the side. Let an outsider help them. How can they, as the old ancestors of the Phoenix race, save their face? The main reason is that Etianyun is under too much pressure. He feels difficult to deal with. They can only choose to sacrifice themselves to cooperate with Etianyun to suppress Heavenly Netherworld Holy King. This is the worst way, but also the best way now. Heavenly Netherworld Holy King, don't underestimate our Phoenix race. The three old ancestors roared, and a burst of Phoenix cry came from their body. Their blood essence burned crazily, and instantly, their whole body was covered with feathers. This is an obvious sign of atavism. At the same time, the terrifying nirvana flame wrapped around his body. His battle power rose crazily and became stronger and stronger. Old ancestor, Bai Shui Huang and the others shouted anxiously, but in the end, they could only swallow the words they wanted to say. This was the only thing they could do for now. If they didn't fight, only death awaited them. However, even if they were to die, they would at least defend the dignity of the Phoenix race instead of cowardly hiding at the side. This was not the style of the Phoenix race. If it was your old ancestor who came back to life, he might be able to cause some damage to me. Now, you three pieces of trash want to deal with me? Holy Master Heavenly Netherworld mocked. If that's the case, then I'll kill the three of you first so that your Phoenix race's resistance will be futile. Don't do anything. Let me deal with him. Etianyun signaled for them to stay put. He could feel that the three ancestors were ready to risk their lives. Once they did, it would be hard to stop. But the three ancestors were stunned. They felt that Tianyun would not be able to defeat the heavenly netherworld Holy King. "Don't worry, it's not a problem to deal with him," Tianyun said confidently. "Oh, still trying to be a hero? It seems that you still don't know how big the gap between us is." Heavenly netherworld Holy King shifted his gaze to Tianyun and said indifferently, "Since you want to be a hero, then I'll fulfill your wish. I'll let you know that if you want to be a hero, you'll be a fool if you don't have the strength." Heavenly netherworld Holy King took a step forward and rushed towards Tianyun. Tianyun's eyes are like a starry sky, full of stars, full of hope. Upgrade crazy mode. Successfully deducted 50 million crazy points. Successfully upgraded crazy mode, level 5. Successfully upgraded crazy mode. The next level requires 500 million crazy points. Crazy mode successfully increased damage by 32 times. Kill EXP increased by 32 times. Alchemy mode increased by 32 times. Crazy point gained by 5 times. Sin value increased by 5 times, and so on. Tianyun's damage was increased by 32 times. It was a shocking number. The original 16 times damage was already shocking enough, but now it doubled again, reaching an incredible 32 times damage. "Help him!" The three old ancestors didn't listen to Tianyun's words and chose to retreat. After all, they could see the gap between the two of them. If they really let Tianyun continue like this, the end result will definitely be Tianyun's death. They didn't want Tianyun to die. They even saw Tianyun for the first time. But they didn't want Tianyun to die. The reason is simple. Tianyun has sacrificed too much for their Phoenix clan. If Tianyun can escape, he will definitely become a stronger cultivator in the future. Even if he can't avenge them, at least he will be able to suppress Heavenly Netherworld Holy King. "You are the stupid one." Crazy damage mode. Activate. With a low roar, an explosive power surged out of his body, and in an instant, the place where he stood was annihilated inch by inch, turning into endless powder. As if the earth was trembling because of him, a terrifying power surged along the earth in all directions. Just at this place, the world shook because of him. 20 billion, 22 billion, 25 billion, 30 billion, 32 billion, 33 billion, 35 billion, 39, 8 billion. Finally, it stopped at 39. 8 billion battle power, which is 20 billion more than before. Under the terrifying battle power, his eyes emitted a bright light, and even the surface of his body emitted a faint black luster, which looked like a bright spot. But inside, there was a tremendous change. A terrifying power was compressed in this body, and when it really breaks out, it will destroy the world. Evil spirits, descend! The black flame wings on Tianyun's back instantly turned into a black light, shrouding the surroundings. Everywhere it went was burned to ashes inch by inch, and a big hole was burned through the space. When Heavenly Netherworld Holy King rushed over, he realized that something was wrong, but it was too late. This seemingly ordinary black light has already enveloped his body. As soon as it touched his giant golden hand, it was immediately burned into charcoal, and then gasified, turning into a wisp of golden smoke, but only for a moment. It continued to be enveloped by the black light. Chapter 653. Under the shroud of the black light, Tianyun couldn't even scream before he was engulfed by the black light. It was difficult to hurt Tianyun before, but now he was easily burned to ashes. This was the effect of the damage increase. No matter how hard the body is, under the overbearing power, it will still turn into ashes. After the black light disappeared, there was an incomparably deep pit in a radius of 1 kilometer. From above, it looked unfathomably deep, and there was a scorching aura coming from the bottom. Just by approaching it, one could feel that they would be burned to death. This was the effect of Tianyun deliberately reducing the range. If he expanded the range, let alone 1 mile, even 10 miles would be destroyed. At that time, half of the Phoenix Nest would be destroyed. What is this power? How can it increase so much? They were shocked. The three old ancestors originally wanted to use their power, but now they were suppressed. They could clearly feel their power. Compared to the power Etionyan just used, it was simply insignificant. They couldn't judge at this time. They thought that Etionyan had reached his limit, but now it seems that they thought too much. Etionyan didn't reach his limit at all. His power can be even more powerful, as if he deliberately hid it before. In fact, Etionyan didn't do that. He just wanted to try to suppress the heavenly netherworld Holy King, but in the end, he found that he couldn't suppress the heavenly netherworld Holy King, so he could only choose to exchange for crazy points. After accumulating enough crazy points, he immediately upgraded crazy mode to increase his power. It's just that the crazy points are basically gone now, but as long as he can kill the heavenly netherworld Holy King, everything else is not a problem. Not dead yet? Etionyan looked down at the bottom. If the heavenly netherworld Holy King died, then the experience message would definitely pop up, but it didn't pop up. It means that the heavenly netherworld Holy King is not dead yet. Immediately, he used the appraisal eye to quickly explore the situation below, and soon found the body of the heavenly netherworld Holy King at the edge of the pit, and began to escape. If it was someone else, I guess they would really let you escape, Etionyan sneered. His figure flashed and rushed to the deep pit. The three old ancestors looked down. They wanted to see the situation of the heavenly netherworld Holy King. After a while, Etionyan flew up from the bottom, holding a black charcoal in his hand. If you look closely, it is not charcoal at all, but a group of soul. But this group of soul is a bit like a physical body. It can move at will and release power. This was related to the evil spirit race. They mainly cultivated their souls, and their souls were so strong that they could leave their bodies at any time and form a physical body to attack their enemies. Even if the body is damaged, as long as the soul is not damaged, it can fly out to attack. The price to pay was not small. The greater the consumption, the smaller the soul would become. In the end, if the soul was gone, it would be equivalent to death. The cost is the heavenly Tianyan, the heaven's holy netherworld, is the highest. The holy realm, the soul, the Saint Holy. Let me go. The heavenly netherworld Holy King's voice is full of fear. Who would have thought that Tianyan can still burst out with such terrifying power? In an instant, he was destroyed. He thought that his body is indestructible, but it is as fragile as tofu, easily crushed. There is a difference of 10 billion battle power between the two. It is difficult not to be easily destroyed. The two of them are no longer on the same level. He feels that even if the Divine King comes, he will have the power to fight. Let you go? Do you think I will let you go? Tianyan said indifferently. If it is someone else, you really will escape. There is no aura at all. They will think you are dead. Back then, you can run away with half of your soul. Is this ability? After the three old ancestors saw this, the big stone hanging on their chests finally fell. It means that the heavenly netherworld Holy King is dead for sure. Now there is only a small group of soul left. As long as this group of soul is destroyed, the heavenly netherworld Holy Kingdom is officially destroyed. Without the three great Holy Kings, the remaining force is equivalent to the level of a second or third rank force. In the eyes of the old ancestors, it is easy to destroy. As long as you let me go, I am willing to give you anything, any way to escape. I am willing to give you. In the face of death, the heavenly netherworld Holy King began to beg for mercy. Where is the dignity of the heavenly netherworld Holy King? You are willing to give me anything? Tianyan said indifferently. Yes, any martial arts, any treasure, I will give you everything heavenly netherworld Holy Kingdom will give you. As long as you let me go, I will give you everything. The heavenly netherworld Holy King begged for mercy. The old ancestors all looked at this side, not interjecting. The decision is now in the hands of Tianyan, whether to choose to kill or choose to stay to get the treasure. This is all up to Tianyan. Become a slave? Tianyan said indifferently. Slave? I am willing to be your slave. The heavenly netherworld Holy King's soul trembled, but in the end, he chose to agree. Is that so? It seems that you are willing to put down your pride. In my opinion, you have other plans, right? Even if you become my slave, unless I keep you by my side, I will only get myself killed one day." Etienne sneered. "As for the treasure, in my opinion, it is all trash. What I want the most right now is very simple, and that is your life." As soon as he said this, the black flame burned madly, inch by inch burning the heavenly netherworld Holy King to death. Screams constantly came from the heavenly netherworld Holy King's soul. But no matter how much he screamed, it was meaningless. "Huh? You will die soon, very soon? No, you will die very soon, very soon. Ha ha ha." The heavenly netherworld Holy King laughed at this moment, as if he was not afraid at all. Only a voice full of hatred came. As the heavenly netherworld Holy King, there was no way he would fear anything. The reason why he chose to compromise, who knows what he was thinking. Even if he becomes a slave, he can't force everything out of him. Maybe he is prepared in advance, so that Etienne won't be able to get anything out of him. Don't worry, you won't be able to see this scene. No matter how many companions you have, I will kill them all," Etienne said coldly. "You are too naive, ignorant human, ignorant weakling." The heavenly netherworld Holy King laughed, didn't say too much, and then completely disappeared in the flame. Ding! Successfully killed the heavenly netherworld Holy King. Reward 21. 5 billion EXP, 150,000 crazy points, 100,000 SPS. Obtained Heavenly Een Divine Art, Evil Spirit Divine Art, Evil Spirit Possession, Evil Spirit Incarnation. Obtained Evil Spirit Soul, Evil Spirit Bone, Evil Spirit Bloodline, Evil Spirit Ancient Jade, Super Rare. Ding! Reward 500 million EXP, 100,000 crazy points, 100,000 SPS, 1 Super Enhanced Lottery Roulette. Chapter 654. After killing the heavenly netherworld Holy King, he successfully broke through to the Saint King stage. After such a battle, he can easily break through to the Saint King stage. From the previous 4th layer of Spirit King stage, he rushed to the 1st layer of Saint King stage in one go. This process only took 1 day, and he broke through so many levels in a row. If people knew about this, they would be scared to death. Others spent more than 10 years, decades, or even hundreds of years to break through to the Saint King stage. Etienne only spent 1 day to successfully break through to the Saint King stage. It's so fast that even he himself didn't expect it. This was also the credit of the experience card. Even when he was able to break through to the Saint King stage, he had also bought an 80 and 50 times experience card. These 2 cards were expensive, but he still had to sell a lot of things to buy them. Peak Saint King stage masters were not common. So even if they sold their pots and pans, they would buy them to upgrade their foundation. Only by upgrading their foundation would their comprehensive strength be strong. Otherwise, it would be useless to say anything. It would be meaningless. But for him, it will take a long time to break through to the Divine King stage. Not to mention breaking through to the Divine King stage. At least he needs to be at the peak Saint King stage. He doesn't know how strong Divine King stage is, but he believes that it is absolutely terrifying. Breaking through from the Spirit King stage to the Saint King stage is a huge improvement in combat power. To break through from the 1st layer of Saint King stage to the 2nd layer of Saint King stage, I need 30 billion EXP. Can I have more? After Etienne checked the EXP required to break through, he was immediately speechless. It seems that without EXP cards, it's really difficult to upgrade. If he continues to buy EXP, he will really go bankrupt. Now that he is bankrupt, he doesn't have any crazy point. Hundreds of thousands of crazy point is nothing for him now. It's not useful at all. In the past, he was happy to get hundreds of thousands of crazy point, but now he feels that it's too little. Without a few million crazy points, it's really useless. Heavenly Netherworld Holy King is now dead. You can go and take over the heavenly netherworld divine nation. As for what you do with the descendants of the evil spirit race, that's your business. After Etienne landed, he returned to his original state and took a deep breath. The consumption was quite shocking. You were the one who killed the heavenly netherworld Holy King's people, so you should be the one to receive all the properties of the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom. Bai Shuiwang said. They would not covet any of Yi Tianyun's belongings, nor would they dare to covet any of his treasures. Indeed, Yi Tianyun had contributed the most. It should be said that he had contributed the most. As for the rest of them, they had not suppressed the Nether Heaven Divine Kingdom, so they could not be considered to have contributed. Therefore, they did not dare to take any of the treasures for themselves. It should belong to Yi Tianyun. As the divine envoy of your Phoenix clan, I'm considered to be part of your Phoenix clan. Therefore, the Nether Heaven Divine Nation will be taken over by you. If there are any treasures that you think are good and you feel apologetic, you can give them to me. I believe that the most important thing for you is to eradicate the descendants of the evil spirit race, right? Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently. He wasn't interested in ordinary treasures, especially if he was alone. How could he take care of all of them? He must ask for their help. That's right. No matter what, the Divine Envoy has saved our entire Phoenix clan. What belongs to you is yours. The heavenly netherworld divine nation must be eradicated. Bai Shuiwang said coldly. Even if they did not need any compensation, they would still eradicate the Nether Heaven divine nation. As long as the descendants of the evil spirit race existed, they might be attacked again. Vengeance had to be taken, and he would not be lenient. You can deal with this yourself. I'll find a place to rest first. If there's anything else, you can talk to me. Yi Tianyun said. Divine Envoy, if you don't mind, you can go to our Phoenix Lake to rest. It's the best place for you to recover. Old ancestor Feng Tian suggested. Phoenix Lake? Isn't that a place that only the elders and above can enjoy? Of course, Yi Tianyun knew about this place, but only the elders and above could go there. He was a divine envoy, so he couldn't go there. Divine Envoy has saved our entire Phoenix clan. Not to mention Phoenix Lake, you can go anywhere you want. The three old ancestors didn't have the slightest intention to help Yi Tianyun. Why would they dare to provoke a heavenly netherworld holy king who could crush their old ancestor? They would definitely worship him as a god. Since that's the case, I won't be polite. Yi Tianyun indeed felt a little tired. After a battle, he needed a good rest. Immediately, under the guidance of the three old ancestors, Yi Tianyun went to the Phoenix Lake and arranged a small wooden hut to rest. After entering the hut, Yi Tianyun felt that the environment here was indeed much denser. The most denser part was the spirit spring that was constantly flowing into the hut. The Phoenix Lake was actually a spirit spring, and the hut was filled with spirit spring water. Therefore, if one wanted to enter this place, they would not be able to do so unless they had a very high status or had a very high contribution. If anyone could enter this place, the Phoenix Lake would have been sucked dry. The spirit chi here is very dense. If I keep absorbing it, I will definitely be able to earn a lot of experience points. Yi Tianyun nodded, thinking that this place was really a treasure land. However, before resting, he still wanted to do a lucky draw. 2 lucky draw chances and a gift bag. How could he miss it? Let's start the lucky draw. Soon, he activated his lucky aura and started the lucky draw. Soon, the lucky draw wheel stopped. Consumable. When he got the consumable this time, he did not look depressed. With the god's teleportation stone from before, he would definitely not be disappointed this time. Ding dong, a wooden box fell into his hand. Soon, he opened the wooden box, and a treasure appeared in front of him. It was a cooling god stone. Cooling god stone greatly reduces the cooldown time of skills. One use can reduce the cooldown time by 2 hours. Can be used 10 times. Good stuff. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. He had to admit that this was really good stuff. He had not used the cooling godstone before because he was too reluctant to use it. Now that he had the cooling godstone, it meant that in the future, he would be able to perform extreme bursts of power within a short period of time. Of course, it could also be used to perform extreme escape. Using teleportation to escape was indeed a very good treasure. As expected, the items obtained from activating his lucky aura would not be too bad. Again, this time, I must hit the accessory slot, just in time for me to complete the Ancient Desolate set. Soon, the lucky draw will start its spinning again. Finally, the needle slowly stopped. The needle seemed to really hear Yi Tianyun shout, and pointed at the accessory slot. Chapter 655. Once again, Etienne was excited. After all, there was only one desolate ancient set left. Once he collected all of them, the effect would be huge. Etienne's current cultivation was at St. King's stage, which was very strong for others, but for him, who was about to face a God King stage expert, St. King's stage cultivation was nothing. Ding, another wooden box fell. The wooden box looked the same. Even the color was exactly the same. If it wasn't for the pointer pointing at a different place, Etienne really didn't know what was inside. I wonder what it is? Etienne quickly opened the wooden box, and soon an item appeared in front of him. Desolate ancient ring. What the F***? Etienne immediately screamed when he saw it clearly. He didn't expect it to be desolate ancient ring and not desolate ancient bracelet. Although he had 10 fingers, only one of them was useful, so it was meaningless to give him so many rings. I thought I could collect the whole set of desolate ancient accessory, but it seems that I can't for the time being. Even if I want to spend crazy points to draw lottery, I don't have enough crazy points to do so. Etienne shook his head helplessly. He was poor now, without crazy points. He felt like he had no money, he couldn't upgrade a lot of things, he couldn't even take a step forward. Just drawing lottery cost more than 1 million crazy points. He didn't have enough. Forget it, I hope I can get desolate ancient bracelet next time. Etienne didn't have a particularly strong need in this aspect. He didn't have a particularly strong opponent. He couldn't use the set even if he collected it. Immediately, he turned his attention to the LV71 gift pack. He didn't know how many EXP cards he could get this time. If he wanted to level up, he would need to give more EXP cards to increase his level. Before, he could get 80 times EXP card. How many times EXP card could he get now? Unlocked LV71 gift pack. Ding, successfully unlocked LV71 gift pack. Obtained 100 times EXP card, 20 times crazy point card, 20 times sin value card, 20 times proficiency card, and unlocked ring equipment slot 2. In addition to getting a lot of EXP cards, what surprised Etienne even more was the ring equipment slot. This made him very surprised. He thought that desolate ancient ring was useless, but now it seems that it was very useful. He could still equip it. Although it wasn't a full set, the effects of the Primordial Series equipment were shocking. He couldn't wait to equip a few more of them. In that case, the number of rings can really continue to increase. Based on this situation, it was possible that he would continue to open the equipment slot 3. Let him equip a few more rings. After all, he had 10 fingers. How could only 2 be effective? Ever since he started playing the game, he had wondered why only 2 of his 10 fingers had an effect. Couldn't there be 10 of them? After all, there were 10 fingers and 10 toes, right? As for the bracelet, at least he had 2 wrists. Even if he didn't wear it all the way to his elbow, he could at least wear one more, right? However, grumbling was just grumbling. He would have to wait until next time to find out whether or not he would be allowed to continue opening the equipment slot. All in all, it's not bad. The gift pack really didn't disappoint me. Etienne was very satisfied. He just didn't know how long this upgrade pack would last. When would he run out of this upgrade pack? He didn't care how long it would take. He just wanted to open it every time he could. It's about time. I could take a good rest. This battle is really tiring. Etienne temporarily calmed down. The matter of the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom was settled. The rest would be settled by the Phoenix clan. He just needed to sit and wait for the goods to arrive. Immediately, he sat on the spiritual liquid beside him and began to quickly absorb the spiritual liquid to nourish his body. After so many battles, even if he had replenished himself, the consumption was still very high. Time passed day by day. The news of the destruction of the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom spread quickly. It was impossible for the news to spread to the entire netherworld. The netherworld was too big. Only the surrounding divine kingdoms knew about the situation here. As for the forces that were very far away, they didn't know what forces were there. The netherworld was vast beyond imagination. However, the surrounding forces were already shocked, speechless. The heavenly netherworld divine kingdom was very powerful. At least, it could enter the top 5 ranks. How could it be gone just like that? In the end, It was the Phoenix clan who came to take over. Many practitioners were deeply shocked. The Phoenix clan had always remained aloof from worldly affairs. Why would they come to eradicate the forces of the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom? However, many people were shocked when they found out that the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom wanted to take over the Phoenix clan. The Phoenix clan has not declined. They are still as powerful as ever. This was the new thought in everyone's mind. They had always thought that the Phoenix clan had chosen not to go out because they had become weak. Now, it seemed that they were not weak at all. They were still at the top and could suppress the other divine kingdoms. All of a sudden, many people's hearts cooled down. They didn't dare to capture the Phoenix clan. If they were caught one day, it would be a dead end for them. The storm outside had nothing to do with Etianyan. He didn't have any forces here. Therefore, no matter how turbulent it was, it had nothing to do with him. It's about time. Etianyan opened his eyes. A cold light shot out from his eyes. In these days, he had completely recovered all his strength. He had returned to his peak state. The spiritual liquid beneath him had been sucked until it became transparent. He got up, pushed open the door, and walked out. The Phoenix Lake outside had also become a bit more transparent. Just him alone had sucked away most of the spiritual energy. He didn't need to be polite. He had saved the entire Phoenix clan, so he deserved to be rewarded. However, he didn't gain much experience from absorbing so much spiritual energy. The spiritual energy he absorbed was only a small part of it. Although it was only a small part, it made the Phoenix clan's hearts ache. Messenger, have you finished your cultivation? The three old ancestors were cultivating. After fighting for so long, they needed to rest here. Then, they clearly saw the lake in front of them become transparent. Without a doubt, Etienne's absorption was too crazy. It scared them. They could only accept it. Even if the Phoenix Lake was sucked dry, they could only accept it. The effect of the Phoenix Lake is not bad. I'm very satisfied. Etienne smiled. I'm just a little embarrassed. I absorbed so much. You don't mind, right? Not at all. Not at all. The three old ancestors' faces twitched. Normally, they wouldn't bear to absorb like this. Even if they did mind, they wouldn't dare to say it. Now that we have cleaned up the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom and collected all the treasures, would you like to go and take a look? Old ancestor Feng Tian said. All right, it's about time for me to leave this place, Etienne said with a nod. He came down here to eradicate the heavenly netherworld divine nation. After destroying the heavenly netherworld divine nation, he would be able to go to the heaven world. Chapter 656. What? You're leaving? When the three old ancestors knew that Etienne was leaving, they were very reluctant. How could they let such a powerful divine messenger go? Although the loss of Lake Phoenix pained them a little compared to the contribution of saving the entire Phoenix clan, this was insignificant. Yes, I'm going to the heavenly world. Etienne didn't hide it. It wasn't a secret anyway, so there was no need to hide it. Heavenly world? They looked at each other and said, the passage from the underworld to the heavenly world is now broken. It's hard to go there unless you go through the mortal world. But Divine Messenger is so strong. How can you go through that passage? I'll take care of it myself. Etienne didn't tell them that he could use the heaven-ascending divine altar. Even without the heaven-ascending divine altar, he could still go to the heavenly world. He had the guardian strength now, so he wasn't restricted at all and could go to the heavenly world as he wished. He just wanted to save time, so he used the teleportation formation to go to the heavenly world. All right then, they looked at each other. Although it was a pity, they couldn't stop Etienne from going to the heavenly world. Now that the heavenly netherworld divine nation was taken care of, they didn't have any problems. Etienne followed them outside. Bai Shui Wang and the others had already taken the heavenly netherworld divine nation's things and divided them into several storage rings. Divine Messenger. These are the spoils of war we got from the heavenly netherworld divine nation. Please take a look. Bai Shui Wang put the storage rings on the table. There were more than a dozen storage rings. She had to admit that the heavenly netherworld divine nation was rich. These were just the treasures There were also some cultivation places that couldn't be brought back, so she could only give them treasures. Tianyun took the storage rings and checked them. After a while, he took a few of them and said, "That's about it. You can have the rest." In the storage rings he left behind, there were pills and weapons. They weren't too high in grade, but they were mostly high-grade soul armaments. The pills he had were mostly 4th-grade soul armaments. He took some sacred artifacts and level 5 pills. Most of them were given to the Phoenix clan. It would have been best if he could have kept all of them alive, but he had always been a person of mutual benefit. The heavenly netherworld divine nation was wiped out so quickly because of the Phoenix race. If it were him, suppressing the cities one by one would take up a lot of time. For this reason, he would keep a portion of it and give most of it to the Phoenix clan. But, just as Bai Shui Huang was about to say something, Tianyun shook his head and interrupted her. "There's no need to say more. I'm already very grateful that you helped me eliminate the remaining forces of the heavenly netherworld divine nation. This is what you deserve. I have always followed the principle of equality and mutual benefit. As the god's emissary here, and with Luo Yin here, I have some feelings for him. If you feel embarrassed, you can nurture Luo Yin more." Tianyun hadn't been with Luo Yin for a long time, but since he called him Godfather, he would definitely take care of him. All right then. Bai Shui Wang wasn't a person who liked to talk nonsense. Since Tianyun said so, she wouldn't refuse. "Godfather, are you leaving?" Luo Yin walked over at this time. She was reluctant to part with Tianyun. Although her memory was restored, she didn't forget the time when Tianyun took care of her. Therefore, she felt a little embarrassed to call him that, but she was still very close to him. "Yes, I'm going to the heavenly world." Tianyun rubbed her little head and said with a smile, "I hope that when I come back next time, you will become stronger and become the pillar of the Phoenix clan." "I will." Luo Yin waved her little fist and said with a smile, "At that time, it won't be Godfather protecting me. It will be me protecting Godfather. I will wait for your protection." Tianyun smiled and rubbed her little head, and immediately after saying goodbye to the other elders, he left the place. Fortunately, the divine envoy we recruited is not a cruel person. Otherwise, with his cultivation, I'm afraid that our Phoenix clan won't be able to survive. The 3 old ancestors shook their heads. If he was a cruel person, I wouldn't have chosen him as the divine envoy. Bai Shui Wang smiled slightly. Divine envoy is a righteous person. Just look at the situation with Luo Yin. If you are good to him, he will be good to you. In the future, we must be on the same side as the divine envoy. No matter what he chooses to do, we must be on the same side as him. They nodded heavily. After this battle, they all felt that Tianyun was a very good person and a very good ally. Ding! Successfully completed emergency quest. Rescue Phoenix Clan. Reward 500. 000. 000 EXP 100. 000 CPS. 200 Phoenix Clan's favorability increased by 100. 000 SBS. At this moment, a notification popped up. It meant that the quest was completed, and they would receive a large reward. In the blink of an eye, Tianyun arrived in front of the Heaven Ascending Divine Altar. The heavenly netherworld divine nation's cultivators who were originally stationed here have already disappeared. Instead, there was a group of ordinary cultivators who came here to take a look and see if they could enter the Heaven Ascending Divine Altar. They wanted to enter the Heaven Ascending Divine Altar for a long time, but this was the territory of the heavenly netherworld divine nation. Now that the heavenly netherworld divine nation is gone, the Phoenix clan didn't come to take over the Heaven Ascending Divine Altar, so everyone thought that the Heaven Ascending Divine Altar was unclaimed. The reason why the Phoenix clan didn't come to take over the Heaven Ascending Divine Altar was because they knew that it was Tianyun's territory. Tianyun didn't say anything as he didn't dare to take over the Heaven Ascending Divine Altar. Many divine rune masters and powerful spirit king experts came to take a look and see if they could sneak in. However, no matter how hard they tried, it was useless as they were all repelled by the powerful divine runes. What the hell is going on? How can such a powerful divine rune defense be able to enter? Who opened it? Could it be the heavenly netherworld divine nation? Or the Phoenix clan? I don't know. I heard that heavenly netherworld divine nation can't enter the heaven ascending divine altar. The Phoenix clan has never been here before, so it's impossible for them to open the heaven ascending divine altar. That's strange. Why would they do that? We can't even enter the heaven ascending divine altar. They shook their heads helplessly, as no one could enter the heaven ascending divine altar. From today onwards, this place belongs to our Yulong divine nation. Everyone disperse. At this time, an expert walked up the stairs and shouted to the crowd. If Tianyan was here, he would definitely recognize him. He was Grand Master Tian Qing, who was originally in Wave Shipping City, but he didn't expect to see him here. Chapter 657. What's going on? This is an ownerless land. How can it be yours? That's right. How can it be yours? Your Imperial Dragon Divine Nation is strong, but this place is empty because the Phoenix race destroyed the heavenly netherworld Divine Nation. Maybe the Phoenix race will come and take it. If the Phoenix race comes, let's see how you deal with it. Everyone was filled with indignation and dissatisfaction. The Phoenix race didn't say anything, so how could the Imperial Dragon Divine Nation occupy this place? They were even more unwilling to stop exploring. Rumor had it that there was an inheritance here, so how could they miss this opportunity? If the Phoenix race comes to take it, we will give it to them. Since this is an ownerless land, we will manage it for the Phoenix race. If you want to continue exploring, we welcome you at any time, but you have to get our permission first. Grandmaster Tianqing said coldly. Moreover, you have already tried it, but it didn't work. I advise you to leave as soon as possible. Grandmaster Tianqing's words were high-sounding. Helping the Phoenix race to manage the Phoenix race? It sounded even better than singing. However, many cultivators still wanted to retreat. They had already tried it, but it all ended in failure. There was a chance that they could break it, but there was also a chance that they couldn't. But now that they were taken over by the Imperial Dragon Divine Nation, they couldn't fight against the Divine Nation. According to the ranking, the Imperial Dragon Divine Nation wasn't even in the top 10, but it was still a Divine Nation. Even if they didn't have Saint King stage powerhouses, they would definitely have a lot of Spirit King stage powerhouses, especially now that Grandmaster Tianqing was a Divine Rune Grandmaster. Although his rank was a little low, his status was much higher than most of the people here. We want to continue trying. A small group of people stood up and said, yes, each of you can give us a mid-grade soul tool. Grandmaster Tianqing said, what? Everyone was shocked and immediately said angrily, that's impossible. This is an ignorant land. Why do you have to charge us? Didn't I say that you can just agree? Why do you still have to charge us? We are charging for the Phoenix race. Although the Phoenix race didn't come to take over this place, if they do, we will take good care of it. Maintaining this place requires a lot of resources. Your expenses are equivalent to offering to the Phoenix clan. Grandmaster Tianqing's words were reasonable, which made them speechless. If the Phoenix clan really came over, they would definitely offer it up with both hands. Even if there was no such thing, the Imperial Dragon Divine Empire would not dare to go against the Phoenix race. The two of them were not on the same level. If they didn't come, it would mean that they had taken it. Their scheming was obvious. This is my territory. Since when did you have the right to collect fees? At this moment, a figure walked out from the crowd. Everyone looked over and saw a young man walking out from the crowd. It's you. When Grandmaster Tianqing saw Tianyan clearly, he flew into a rage. He had been humiliated by Tianyan earlier, and he had been holding a grudge against him ever since. Now that he saw Tianyan again, he was even more furious. This is my territory. Since when did you have the right to decide? Tianyan said coldly. The Phoenix clan didn't say anything. What right do you have to occupy this place? Tianyan found it funny. This Imperial Dragon Divine Empire really knew how to take advantage of loopholes. They thought that the Phoenix clan didn't come to take it, so they rushed over to take it. They even said that they were helping the Phoenix clan. If the Phoenix clan really came, they would hand it over immediately. They could even befriend the Phoenix clan. Their wishful thinking was really good. Your territory? Grandmaster Tianqing was furious. What a joke. If the Phoenix clan found out about this, I think it wouldn't be enough for you to die 100 times. Then you call the Phoenix clan over. Let's see if they will let me die 100 times. Yi Tianyun said coldly. Get down here. He raised his hand in the air and slapped Grandmaster Tianqing's face. Pa! Grandmaster Tianqing tumbled down the stairs. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, he tumbled several times before finally falling to the ground. His face was swollen badly. The surrounding crowd sucked in a breath of cold air. This new young man was quite hot-tempered. Most importantly, his cultivation was not bad. This kid is dead for sure. The Imperial Dragon Divine Empire is not so easy to mess with, especially when he is helping the Phoenix clan. No matter if he is helping the Phoenix clan or not, this kid is courting death. Yes, the Imperial Dragon Divine Empire wants to borrow flowers to offer Buddha. Before they take over this place, they quickly come over to help. At that time, no matter if the Phoenix clan is willing to take it or not, they will profit. This kid is still too young. He doesn't even understand. He probably came from some mountain village. He doesn't know what kind of monster he provoked. The surrounding crowd couldn't help but laugh. They felt that Yi Tianyun was too reckless. You actually dare to hit me. I am the Imperial Preceptor of the Imperial Dragon Divine Empire. Grandmaster Tianqing jumped up and pointed at him angrily. Capture him and bring him to the Phoenix clan. Make him beg for forgiveness. I am helping the Phoenix clan to manage this place. But someone wants to barge in. This is a big crime. Yes, Imperial Preceptor. The guard at the side was stunned. He immediately pounced towards Yi Tianyun and wanted to capture him. I haven't seen you for a while, and now you are the Imperial Preceptor of the Imperial Dragon Divine Empire. It seems like the Imperial Dragon Divine Empire is really stupid to hire you as their Imperial Preceptor. Yi Tianyun sneered and said, Get lost! Get lost! Yi Tianyun slapped the guard and sent him flying. Even if they didn't die, they were at least seriously injured. Yi Tianyun's action shocked many people. On the one hand, they were shocked by Yi Tianyun's cultivation. Although the guard's cultivation was not high, they were still at the Void Spirit Stage 8th layer. Doesn't this mean that this young man's cultivation is at least at the Spirit King stage? On the other hand, they felt that Yi Tianyun's courage was really big. He dared to go against the Imperial Dragon Divine Empire. Even if he was at the Spirit King stage, he was obviously insignificant in the face of a divine nation. You are determined to go against the Imperial Dragon Divine Empire and the Phoenix clan? Grandmaster Tianqing covered his face and looked at Yi Tianyun in horror. So what? Yi Tianyun said coldly. You are blocking my way. This heaven-ascending divine altar is my territory. No matter who comes here, they will die if they dare to provoke me. His words caused many people to suck in a breath of cold air. His tone was really arrogant. Did he not put any forces in his eyes? Can he enter the heaven-ascending divine altar? Immediately, Yi Tianyun lifted his foot and walked towards the heaven-ascending divine altar. But he didn't go far before he heard an uproar. The Phoenix clan's divine messenger is here. It's really the Phoenix clan's divine messenger. This is going to be interesting. Chapter 658. The divine nation of the Phoenix race was here. All the cultivators looked like they were waiting for a good show. They had been talking about the Phoenix race before. Now that the real divine nation of the Phoenix race was here, they wondered how this would end. Most people thought that Yi Tianyun was dead for sure. Imperial Dragon Divine Nation was a bootlicker. Even if the Phoenix race didn't buy it, they wouldn't vent their anger on Imperial Dragon Divine Nation. Yi Tianyun was different. He chose to force his way in. This would easily anger the Phoenix race. When Grandmaster Tianqing saw the Divine Phoenix Messenger, he immediately covered his face and ran over. He shouted, Divine Phoenix Messenger, Divine Phoenix Messenger, you're finally here. His fawning expression was disgusting. If this was the imperial preceptor of imperial dragon divine nation, he would be a disgrace to the nation. This attitude was really too low. How was this the feeling of a teacher of a nation? However, the others didn't laugh at him. Grandmaster Tianqing was a wise man. If he kept a straight face, he would be killed by the Phoenix race without knowing what would happen. Our Imperial Dragon Divine Kingdom has just arrived to help the Phoenix race guard this altar and prevent others from getting close. Who knew that this brat wouldn't know what's good for him and insisted on forcing his way in? Not only did he injure me, he also injured one of our people. Grandmaster Tianqing's face was swollen. He looked very comical. He was still smiling, which made him look very funny. The Phoenix race didn't just have one divine phoenix. There were several of them. The phoenix following behind them was the best proof. Tianyun didn't summon his ice phoenix. He wouldn't summon it under normal circumstances. His speed wasn't as fast as his, so he wouldn't summon it normally. The Phoenix Divine Envoy stared coldly at Grandmaster Tianqing and slapped him across the face. With a loud slap, Grandmaster Tianqing was sent flying. After being sent flying for a distance, he even rolled a few times on the ground, his whole body lying on the ground in a daze. Not only was Grandmaster Tianqing stunned, but the surrounding cultivators were also stunned. Was it wrong for Grandmaster Tianqing to do this? Not only had he failed to flatter the right person, but he had also slapped the horse's leg and got kicked instead? Divine Phoenix Envoy, I was just worried that the altar would be destroyed by others, so I had them guard this place. I didn't really intend to take it for myself. Grandmaster Tianqing hurriedly scrambled to his feet to explain. He didn't want to be misunderstood, or else it would be troublesome. Imperial Dragon Divine Empire would definitely eliminate him without hesitation and would not protect him. Grandmaster Tianqing really thought that he had done something wrong, which was why he had been beaten up by the Phoenix Divine Envoy. It wasn't just him, everyone else was thinking the same thing. The Phoenix Divine Emissary didn't bother to pay attention to him and walked towards Tianyun. She immediately put her hands together and bowed deeply. Greetings, foreign great elder. He was very respectful. The news of Tianyun saving the entire Phoenix clan had already spread far and wide. Everyone knew about it, so they were very grateful to Tianyun for helping them solve this problem. He was definitely the Phoenix clan's savior. Because of this, Tianyun became their great elder, and everyone in the Phoenix clan had to treat him like a great elder. His authority was equal to that of a great elder. Oh, I've become a great elder of the Phoenix clan? Tianyun found this interesting, but it wasn't unexpected. He knew that the Phoenix clan was doing this to rope him in and give him better treatment. He didn't expect this, so he could accept it calmly. He was already a divine envoy, so becoming a great elder of the Phoenix clan wasn't a big deal. Yes, after a discussion, you become a great elder of the Phoenix clan. Your authority is equal to that of a great elder, the Phoenix Divine Envoy said respectfully. These two simple sentences made everyone dumbfounded once again. Great elder, a great elder of the Phoenix clan. When had the Phoenix clan ever seen a great elder of the Phoenix clan? This was definitely the first time they heard of a great elder of the Phoenix clan, and his authority was equal to that of a great elder. They all wondered if they were hallucinating. Did I hear it wrong? Great elder of the Phoenix clan. This kid is the great elder of the Phoenix clan. Sure. Don't drag me down if you want to die, kid. This is the great elder. This is unbelievable. If the divine envoy of the Phoenix clan didn't say it, I wouldn't dare to believe it. Even if the divine envoy of the Phoenix clan said it, I wouldn't dare to believe it. This time, the Imperial Dragon Divine Nation is finished, and the one they offended is the great elder of the Phoenix clan. No wonder he kept saying that this territory is his. He wasn't saying it randomly. It's the truth. Everyone was stunned, and they finally knew what was going on. Everything he said wasn't boasting. It was the truth. Grandmaster Tianqing was also stunned, and he pointed at Tianyun with a trembling finger. How? How is this possible? Wasn't it a foreign kid just now? This? He was stupefied, and his intestines turned green with regret. How was he kicking an iron plate? He had kicked a giant mountain. And thank you for your concern. Go back. Also, I don't want to see that guy again. Help me deal with him. Yi Tianyun looked at Grandmaster Tianqing indifferently, and he couldn't be bothered to deal with him personally. He wouldn't gain much experience, and it would be a waste of his time. If not for these guys, he would have long entered the heaven-ascending divine altar and left, and he wouldn't be stuck here wasting his time. Yes, Elder Yi. The Phoenix Divine Envoy turned to look at Grandmaster Tianqing, and her eyes were as cold as ice. The Great Elder's authority is inviolable. Your Imperial Dragon Divine Nation is really bold. I can explain. Grandmaster Tianqing was so scared that he wanted to cry, but he didn't know what to say. In the end, Yi Tianyun didn't even bother to look at Grandmaster Tianqing, and he lifted his foot and walked into the gate. The divine runes that were hard to break had no effect on him at all. Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw Yi Tianyun's action. The divine runes didn't have any effect on him at all. Screams could be heard coming from outside, but Yi Tianyun didn't bother to pay attention to them, and he continued to walk inside. With the teleportation, Yi Tianyun instantly arrived at the central area, and a delicate voice sounded in his ears again. You broke through? The little girl's phantom appeared and looked at Yi Tianyun in surprise. In such a short time, Yi Tianyun had broken through to the Spirit King stage, and even she couldn't see through his cultivation. Although Yi Tianyun's cultivation is almost the same, but Yi Tianyun has a lot of equipment, it can play a certain role in concealment. If the cultivation gap is not big, it is really difficult to see. Yes, I can control the teleportation array here to go to the heavenly realm, right? Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently. No problem. I thought I would have to wait for another few decades, but I didn't expect you to come back in such a short time. And you even found Master's descendant? The Phantom was surprised. Yes, there is no problem at all. It's my luck. Yi Tianyun smiled. If it wasn't for his kindness, he would have missed Jiulingyun. Sometimes being kind can be very beneficial to oneself. Chapter 659. Yi Tianyun confirmed that he was qualified to control the Heaven Ascension Altar, so he immediately stepped on the teleportation array to the Heaven Realm. The teleportation array in the Heaven Realm was the peak of the Heaven Ascension Altar, and the huge teleportation array was the Heaven Realm teleportation array. In order to be able to teleport to the Heaven Realm, the Heaven-creating Divine King really spent a lot of effort to carve this array. The main reason he did this was to ensure that there was another way to go to the Heaven Realm in the case that the passage was damaged, so that the two realms could be connected. Now that the Ghost Realm and the Heaven Realm were blocked, the passage was unstable and could not be casually passed through. If he forcibly passed through, there was no doubt that it would be very dangerous. Fortunately, there was the Heaven Ascension Altar here, which could easily lead to the Heaven Realm. This teleportation array could not only teleport one person, but also a large group of people. As long as there was enough spiritual power, it could teleport more people. Now that he was the only one being teleported, it was relatively simple and did not need to consume too much spiritual power. Let's start. Teleport to the Heaven Realm, Yi Tianyun said to the Phantom next to him. Yes, Master. The Phantom had now recognized Yi Tianyun as the next Master. As long as his cultivation reached the standard, he could become the real Master. Immediately, the Phantom began to activate the teleportation array. Soon, the entire Heaven Ascension Altar was shaking, and the teleportation array was emitting light. When the rogue cultivators outside saw the situation, they were shocked, not knowing what was happening. What's going on? After the foreign Grand Elder went in, this happened. Could it be that something opened? God knows. We can just watch from the side, but this time, the Imperial Dragon Divine Kingdom has to pay a price. They found an idiot Imperial Preceptor. Not only did it not bring them any benefits, but it also caused a lot of trouble. This is a little interesting. Everyone was in the mood to watch the show. Anyway, they had no relationship with the Imperial Dragon Divine Kingdom, so it did not matter what happened. Buzz! Just when they were wondering what would happen here, the Heaven Ascension Divine Altar suddenly blasted out a huge pillar of light that soared into the sky, piercing through the clouds, as if it was connected to the heavens. The earth trembled, and the ground within a radius of 10 li shook, as if there was an earthquake. However, the beam of light disappeared as quickly as it came. In the blink of an eye, the beam of light that connected the sky disappeared. Everything returned to normal as if nothing had happened. Huh? Nothing happened? Everyone was confused. It seemed like there was such a big commotion, but who knew that nothing had happened? They had thought that Etienne would activate some sort of formation or attack, or perhaps some sort of heavenly phenomenon. Who would have thought that he would disappear in the blink of an eye? While they were guessing, Etienne felt a tug on his body after a short period of teleportation. If not for the fact that his cultivation was not low, he would have been torn in half on the spot. The terrifying pulling force was enough to tear someone with a low cultivation into countless pieces. This process only took less than a few seconds, and he felt that he had entered a strange space, and his vision quickly recovered. The first thing that came into view was still a large formation, and he was still standing on the spacious heaven altar. If he observed carefully, he found that the divine runes here had changed greatly, and there were many changes compared to before. This was a matter of course. From the heaven realm to the underworld, the teleportation formation must be a little different. He did not think that the teleportation failed. If it failed, then he would not be the heaven-creating divine king. The heaven ascension divine altar's teleportation formation was different from the passage he had encountered before. It was not random, but the same teleportation formation was built here in the heaven realm. The appearance was almost exactly the same. There was no difference. He could also control this place, and there was no change from before. He could still control all the divine runes inside, turning this place into a very strong fortress, difficult to be broken. At the beginning, the heaven-creating divine king's idea was that the two worlds could send reinforcements at any time, in order to suppress the foreign demons. The normal passage between the two worlds was too slow, and it was better to pass in batches here. In addition, the passage was easy to be destroyed, and its stability was definitely not as good as the teleportation formation, so the heaven-creating divine king specially spent some effort to build it. He lifted his feet and walked outside, and what came into view was the vast mountains and rivers. There was no big change in the appearance. Although the heaven realm and the underworld sounded very domineering. In fact, the two were similar, and the difference in the concentration of spiritual power was not big. The only difference was the difference in the spiritual power, not the difference in concentration, but the spiritual power of the heaven realm contained a bit of yang qi. The underworld, on the other hand, contained a bit of yin qi. For the cultivation of different powers, it would be helpful. Of course, it could be completely ignored. The Phoenix clan was the fire of yang, but wasn't it still in the underworld? But if one stayed in the corresponding place, it would definitely be helpful. There was no doubt about this. The mortal realm was a mixed area of both, inclusive and did not reject any power. The overall situation did not change much. It was not that the scenery here was like the immortal world, but the underworld was like a scene of hell. In fact, it was just a name. It was just that compared to the heaven-ascending divine altar in the underworld, the heaven-ascending divine altar in the heaven realm had changed a lot. From here, people came and went frequently in and out of the heaven-ascending divine altar. It seemed that they came from different forces. Obviously, this place was different from the underworld. Could it let others come in at will? The only difference was that no one could come up to the top of the heaven-ascending divine altar. As long as one came close to this place, flying was prohibited. The heaven-creating divine king did not want others to come up, otherwise it would be dangerous if the teleportation divine runes here were destroyed. Interesting, I don't know why this situation would happen. Etienne's figure flashed and immediately disappeared from the teleportation array, as if no one had appeared here. Hey, I thought I saw a figure on the heaven-ascending divine altar just now. Why didn't I see it? Are you seeing things? For so many years, no one has ever gone up, and anyone who approached was immediately suppressed. Really, could it be that my eyes are really playing tricks on me? One of the cultivators scratched his head, and when he looked carefully over there, he found that he really did not see anyone. No one had been able to climb to the top, so he immediately thought that his eyes were playing tricks on him. It's your eyes. Let's go down quickly. The heaven-ascending divine temple is ready to open the trial. If we don't go soon, there will be no place for us. Chapter 660. There's a fourth grade recovery pill here. It's a must-have pill for recovery in the Heaven Temple trial. There's equipment to reduce the pressure of the trial here. It's absolutely discounted. Come and have a look. I have a special martial art here. After you practice it, I guarantee that you will pass the trial easily. Bullshit. If it's easy, why don't you practice it? If I practice it, will you have a chance? I'm giving you the chance, understand? In the spacious passage inside the Heaven Temple, there were all kinds of cultivators hawking their wares on both sides. All kinds of treasures were placed on the side, just like a lively market. Compared to the underworld was directly occupied by the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom. But here it was completely open, which was very strange. If it was said that the heaven realm did not have any powerful forces from the underworld, this was impossible. There must be even more powerful forces here, but no one had monopolized this place. This was very strange. It's really lively here. Compared to the underworld, the heaven realm is more respectful to the heaven-creating divine king. They dare not monopolize this place. The young man who looked around on the aisle was Tianyun. He understood the overall situation from the Phantom here and knew why this place was not monopolized. The heaven-creating divine king said that this place was permanently open to the public and anyone could come in for the trial. The time was once every 10 years. If it was too frequent, the Heaven Temple would not be able to bear the torment. The consumption of spiritual power was too much, and it must be slowly recovered over a long period of time. Otherwise, it would not be enough for them to participate in the trial. This did not mean that the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom was too arrogant, but only the heaven realm was open. Because the underworld had its own forces, it would not be open to the public. There were no forces in the heaven realm, so it would be open to the public, allowing others to come in for the trial. However, it was just a trial, and the other places would not be open at will. It was impossible to walk around here at will. Except for when it was time to prepare for the trial, it would not be open for the rest of the time. However, no matter how heaven-defying the geniuses here were, they would not choose an inheritor. It would only be open to the Heaven Temple in the underworld. The reason was simple. The underworld had its own descendants. No matter how selfless the heaven-creating divine king was, he was still biased towards his descendants, so it was normal to specifically choose the underworld to choose an inheritor. But after he left, there was no way to change the rules. The spirits here looked vivid and lifelike, as if they were alive. However, no matter how much it resembled a living being, it was still an inanimate object. Everything had to be done according to the rules. The heaven-creating divine king was very powerful, but he was not a real god. He could not create life. Thus, the heaven realm's ascension god palace could be opened at will. Adding on the restrictions of the rules, even if someone wanted to monopolize it, they could not. Unless there was a god king stronger than the heaven-creating divine king, there was no way to forcibly occupy the Heaven Ascension Temple. The reason why the Heaven Ascension Temple in the underworld could be occupied at will was mainly because the restrictions were not strong. Originally, the heaven-creating divine king had set such rules, so there was no problem. "Kid, do you want a weapon?" A cultivator at the side shouted at him. "This weapon of mine will make it easier for you during the trial. The price is not expensive, just 500,000 spiritual stones, and you can take it away." Tianyun smiled and came to his stall to pick up the short sword. After the people on the side saw it, they couldn't help but shake their heads, thinking that a naive kid was about to take the bait. This weapon is just a low-grade soul tool, and the price is as high as 500,000 spiritual stones. Besides, is it really effective? Tianyun tossed the short sword and said with a smile, "How can it not be effective? The effect is absolutely amazing. As long as you buy it, when the time comes for the trial, if it doesn't work, just come to me." The vendor patted his chest confidently. Tianyun sneered in his heart. It would be really strange if he could see him after the trial. He came over to talk, nothing more than to inquire about some information. 500,000 spiritual stones, as the inquiry fee, was not a problem. He chose this vendor mainly because he seemed to be the type of person who could search for information, so he casually asked him about it. When he was just about to speak, a young man next to him suddenly shouted, "Friend, don't buy these things. It's not effective at all." "Kid, what are you talking about?" The vendor immediately pointed at him and said angrily, "Don't talk nonsense if you don't want to buy it. Didn't your master teach you not to talk nonsense outside?" The young man was scared and stepped back a few steps, but he still said in a low voice, "This is what my master taught me. It's useless to say anything." Etienne immediately laughed. The vendor also laughed, but this time he laughed because he was angry. "It seems that you are courting death." The vendor angrily stretched out his hand and wanted to slap the young man away. The young man was about to take the bait. If the young man ran away, then he would have come here in vain. The young man's face turned pale. He hurriedly tried to dodge, but he couldn't avoid the palm. His cultivation was only at first level of core condensation. He should have just broken through not long ago. The vendor's cultivation was at second level of core transformation. The gap between the two was too big. If the vendor didn't even have this cultivation, he really wouldn't dare to come here. At least he should be able to fly. If he can't fly, how can he escape? Bang! A hand firmly grabbed the vendor's hand, making him unable to move. The one who stopped him was none other than Etienne, who stretched out his hand to block the vendor's hand. The vendor was shocked. His palm strength was not that big, but it was definitely not that easy to resist. Etienne can easily grab the vendor. It means that his cultivation is definitely not bad. "Brat, what do you mean by this? Don't tell me you're with him?" The vendor was not happy. He immediately suspected that the two of them were together. Otherwise, why would he help? Etienne's eyes flashed. The vendor's eyes immediately blurred. He no longer said half a word. He was easily controlled by Etienne. There were a lot of people here. If he stretched out his hand and slapped him, it would be difficult to inquire about the news, so it was best to control him. The young man who was ready to be hit found that the vendor was not moving. He immediately wanted to run, but he was quickly pulled by Etienne. "I don't know your name yet." Etienne was a bit interested in this young man. He was very kind. The two of them didn't know each other, but he still spoke to remind them. My name is Hironquin." Hironquin looked at the vendor next to him with a pale face. He was really worried that he would suddenly attack again. He can't withstand the attack of a core transformation cultivator. "Hironquin, then you go back first. I will find you later and give you a good fortune." Etienne smiled and signaled him to leave. "Good fortune?" Hironquin scratched his head in doubt. He didn't know what Etienne said, but he was worried that the vendor would catch up, so he hurriedly left. "Friend, don't believe this. I will go first. Master is waiting for me." Chapter 661. Of course, Etienne knew that this hawker was a liar. He knew it for a long time, but he only talked to him to get some information. However, he didn't expect that he would be dissuaded by a young man. In such a chaotic world, there was still such a kind person, and he had always appreciated it. Since this young man was willing to help him, then he will give him some good fortune. But before that, he had to get the details out of the hawker first. After taking control of the hawker, Etienne began to interrogate him. He wanted to know everything about the heaven realm, but he couldn't collect too much information from the phantom. He couldn't go down to collect information, and most of the cultivators would come here once every 10 years, so it was rare for them to reveal information about certain aspects. Etienne could only collect information by asking the people here, among which Shuiyan's information was the most important. He wouldn't be stupid enough to ask where Shuiyan was, because who would know where Shuiyan was? The information he wanted to collect was very simple. He just had to ask all the forces in the heaven realm. He wanted to see which forces valued the ice attribute physique more, and this was very likely. In addition, the cultivation environment was also the same. Shuiyan's physique was the ice saint body, which meant that she must cultivate in a place of extreme cold in order to maximize the effect of her physique. Soon, Etienne got the general information from the hawker, and as he thought, this hawker knew a lot, and many small forces knew about it. There are more than 6 or 7 people who meet the requirements. Is this still the heaven realm? Etienne felt a little speechless. The spiritual power in the heaven realm was more inclined to yang qi, but who knew that there were 6 or 7 places of extreme cold, which really went against the original intention of the heaven realm. However, nature was ever-changing. Even in an extremely hot place, there was a possibility of an extremely cold place appearing. The world was vast, and there was no place that didn't have such things. Now that there were more than 6 or 7 people, Etionyan had to exclude them a little bit. Etionyan heard that their cultivation was above the Spirit King stage, which meant that the other party's force should be very strong, at least above the 4th stage, which was the level of an empire. After this elimination, there were still 6 or 7 people left, which really gave him a headache. They were already powerful enough to begin with, and they were unfamiliar with this place. It was impossible for them to ask him if he knew Sir Shuyan the moment they met. If that was the case, wouldn't he be called a lunatic? It seems that I have to search for them one by one. The area of the branch is really wide, Etionyan said as he shook his head. He felt that even with his amazing speed, it would take him several years to search for all the branches in the branch. It was possible that they might not even be able to find it after they finished searching. He was only selecting the most likely information. The heaven realm was simply too big. It was impossible for this peddler to know everything. It was very likely that it was a hidden family clan or a small force. These were all possibilities. It was impossible for his judgment to be completely correct. Everything was based on intuition. Right, soul guidance? Etionyan recalled that when he had obtained the title of Soul Guide, he had obtained the title of Soul Guide, which could guide him to the target of his mission. The main mission happened to be to find Sir Shuyan. So if he used soul guidance, wouldn't he be able to find her? He couldn't wait to slap himself. How could he forget about this matter? Immediately, he opened the shop, and soon everything came into view. The things he got from the lottery or the things he got from killing enemies appeared in this shop. It meant that he could spend a lot of money to buy dropped items. It was very user-friendly. However, the price was not very user-friendly. It was basically dozens of times more expensive than the selling price. It was like a Saint tool was sold for tens of thousands of crazy points at most, but if he bought it in the shop, he would need millions of crazy points. Soon, he found soul guidance, and when he saw the price, his face suddenly changed. 3 million crazy points. This made him want to vomit blood. If it was before, he could casually throw out 3 million crazy points, but now that he leveled up crazy mode, it was basically zero. His net worth was less than 1 million crazy points, and most of his things were given to the Heavenly Clouds Empire. However, even if he sold all of them, he estimated that it would be 6 to 7 million crazy points, but it was too much of a loss. So many Saint tools, so many martial arts, if he sold them, it would be too much of a loss. The Saint tools sold in the shop were sold for 1 million crazy points, but it was only sold for more than 10,000 crazy points, which meant that even if he sold Saint tools, he would need to sell at least 300 of them. Heaven-level martial arts were sold at a price of more than 10,000 crazy points. Middle-grade martial arts were slightly more expensive, and the most expensive one was upper-grade martial arts, which was as high as 100,000 crazy points. It's just that the number of upper-grade sacred tools he had was relatively small. Of course, he gave all of them to Iyue and the others, and he didn't leave anything for himself unless he sold the divine tools. One divine tool cost 1 million crazy points, but he was reluctant to sell it. It was too wasteful. 3 million crazy points, I should be able to get it soon. Etionyan shook his head. He planned to hunt higher-level demon beasts, which was undoubtedly the fastest solution. Perhaps these things were not as valuable as a finger of Sir Shuyan, but at the moment, Sir Shuyan's situation was certainly not dangerous, so he was not in a hurry. If it was dangerous, he would have sold all of his belongings long ago, regardless of whether his opponent was a Saint King or a Divine King. It's almost time. The trial is about to start. If you want to buy, it will be too late. Yes, my martial god's robe can definitely take you to the sky. Easily pass the trial and get the reward. The power of my heavenly god's pill is even more amazing. It will be easy for you to climb the stairs. Absolutely no pressure. It was almost time to start, and the hawkers were shouting hard, but they didn't move. They didn't want to participate in the trial. The Heaven Realm's Heaven Ascending Divine Altar is very strict. There are great restrictions on age and cultivation level. One must be above the core condensation stage. Cultivation level within the core transformation stage does not include the core transformation stage. The age cannot be older than 30. These peddlers were already over 30 years old, and their cultivation level was already at the core transformation stage, so they could only come here to swindle money. They also had a good excuse to say that if they weren't too old, they would have already taken the treasures to participate in the trial. It's almost time, after giving him a good fortune, it's time to find a good place to hunt demon beasts and earn some crazy points. Etienne nodded, temporarily set this plan, or look at the wanted poster. There are still many ways to earn crazy points. 3 million crazy points was difficult to earn in the past, but now it's not bad. Chapter 662. Before Etienne left, he plundered all of the peddler's treasures, not even leaving a single spirit stone. For a swindler, being able to survive in his hands was already good enough. So many treasures were equivalent to selling one's life. What swindler, daring to deceive him? In the end, he even wanted to violently beat up Etienne. He would definitely not be polite and take everything away, not leaving a single coin. Very soon, the peddler came back to his senses and found that he was swimming naked in the outermost river, completely unaware of what had happened. What am I doing? The peddler was dumbfounded. Even his initial memories were gone. Etienne made him lose even his previous memories in order to make Ronquin safer. Although the heaven realm was vast, it was very likely that they would meet, so he removed a part of the peddler's memory. At the same time, all the qualified cultivators on the Heaven Ascension Temple's side rushed inside. Etienne followed them in. The environment here was no different from the Heaven Ascension Temple in the Netherworld. It was basically the same, except for the teleportation runes on the top floor. There was no difference in the rest. This meant that the content of the trial was exactly the same. First climbing the ladder, then climbing the steps, there was no change. The only change was that those who successfully reached the top would be rewarded with martial arts. This was one of their biggest attractions. The trial not only could improve their cultivation, but they could also obtain martial arts as a reward. Why not? When Etienne walked to the front of the passage, he immediately saw the familiar figure of the youth. I heard that you almost caused trouble just now. A middle-aged man complained to Ronquin. No, Disciple just saw that he was about the same age as Disciple and felt that it was not easy to come here. I just said a few words to persuade him. I didn't say much. Ronquin lowered his head pitifully, like a child who had done something wrong. I didn't do anything. I just told you to ignore these swindlers. I didn't tell you to ignore others. If you provoke them, even I can't deal with them. Some of their cultivation is higher than your master's. Without a doubt, this man was Ronquin's master, Wei Feizhou. He had an expression of exasperation. His cultivation was not bad. He was at the 3rd level of the core transformation stage. He could be considered a good teacher. However, his words were indeed true. If Ronquin were to casually cause trouble outside, it would really be difficult for him to stop those hawkers. Some of the peddlers were at 7th or 8th level of core transformation stage. Some of them were normal, but most of them were swindlers. They just wanted to make a fortune and leave. In this day and age, those who were kind-hearted were the stupid ones. It was obvious that the force that Ronquin belonged to was not a big one. Etienne smiled knowingly. This was really difficult. So it turned out that she had decided to help because she saw that they were of the same age. Her heart was a bit pure. I'm sorry, Master. I won't do it again. Ronquin apologized profusely. Would there be a next time? Wei Feizhou glared at him. No, there won't be a next time, Ronquin hurriedly said. When Wei Feizhou saw his disciple nodding seriously, he sighed and said, Ronquin, Master knows that you are kind-hearted, but people are evil now. Even if you help them, it doesn't mean that they will repay you. Except for your own family, you can't trust anyone else. Do you understand? I understand, Master. Ronquin nodded to show that he understood. It's good that you understand. Get ready, you will go up later. Wei Feizhou smiled and patted Etienne's shoulder. He said with a smile, perform well later. If you can't do it, just come down. I believe that you will definitely be able to climb higher this time. At least, you will be able to enter the top 300 steps. I will. He Ronquin was full of confidence in himself. Then, from the corner of his eyes, he saw Tianyin walking towards him. He smiled and said, "It seems that the hawker did not make things difficult for you. Thanks to your reminder, I was not cheated." Tianyin smiled and walked towards him. He did not say that he would not cheat. We didn't do anything. Why would he make things difficult for us? He didn't go around saying that he was cheating people. Naturally, he would not make things difficult for us. Could this be the friend that you try to persuade? Wei Feizhou frowned and looked at Tianyin from head to toe, but he couldn't see through Tianyin. Yes, this is the friend that I tried to persuade. He Ronquin smiled at Tianyin and said, "That's great. The trial is about to begin. You can participate now." "No, I won't participate. I was going to take a look." Tianyin smiled. He definitely wouldn't participate. There was no meaning to it. He was the owner of the Heaven Ascending Altar. Why would he participate? Moreover, his cultivation had already broken through to Saint Ruler. The trial would not have any effect on him. At most, it would give him a few million or 10 million experience points. What meaning was there to him now? "You're not participating?" He Ronquin and Wei Feizhou were shocked. Was he not going to participate? Most of the people who came here were either to train or to sell things outside. It was that simple. As for people who came here to stroll, it was really rare, especially since Tianyin looked so young. They should have gone to train together. Wei Feizhou's frown deepened. He looked at him and asked, "Little friend, I wonder which sect you are from? Where is your master? Did he not come with you?" "I don't belong to any sect. I'm just a lone cultivator. I'm just strolling around." Tianyin smiled and said, "Don't belong to any sect? A lone cultivator?" Wei Feizhou shook his head. He thought that Tianyin was a disciple of a powerful force. But it seemed that Tianyin was just strolling around. But even if he was strolling around, he still had to go for a trial. Since he was already here, it would be a waste if he didn't go. "It would be a pity if I don't go." He Ronquin shook his head. He smiled and said, "I almost forgot to introduce myself. I am He Ronquin. How should I address you, friend?" Tianyin. Tianyin said simply. "Tianyin?" He Ronquin was startled. He murmured, "Tianyin, Tianyin. This name sounds familiar." "Familiar?" Tianyin was a little confused. He smiled and said, "Maybe the names are overlapping. The world is so big. There should be many people with the same name." "I remember now. When I was passing by the fallen feather mountain with Master, I saw a beautiful lady standing at the edge of the mountain. She was calling Tianyun's name. She said that she didn't know when Tianyun would see her again. I wanted to look at that lady more, but Master dragged me away. He said that I shouldn't look at her randomly. Otherwise, I might get myself killed." He Ronquin scratched his head in embarrassment. He smiled and said, "Maybe it's someone with the same name. I'm not sure if their surname is E. Anyway, they both call her Tianyun." That you're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.